learned the hard way. Nothing's overnight. Some days you lose, some days you survive. Still strong, even moving slow. Every step counts more than you know. I found gold in the everyday, and showing up and staying brave. Still strong.
Tom Vargas, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you, man. Tom, I got a introduction here for you. And actually, let's just do it. Tom Vargas, you're born in Bartow, Florida.
Yep.
You've been married for 23 years, together with your wife for 30 years.
Yes.
I've met your wife. Your wife's like my wife, like that source of strength.
Yes.
Yeah. You have 3 boys,
Mm-hmm.
3 grandchildren. You are the vice president of a local shell company.
Correct.
In fact, that's how you and I got to be friends.
Yes.
You've been 31 years in construction. You're an avid outdoorsman. You like to hunt, fish, garden, like anything has to do with outdoors. That's you.
Yes.
I've called you several times, and you'd be like, "Hey, Keith, I'm out on the camper. I'm out on the property getting ready to hunt. Let me call you back in a minute." Like that's you, boy. I didn't know this about you. You're a baseball and a football coach for 17 years.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to hear about that. Yeah, heartbreakingly, you're recently diagnosed with Parkinson's,
Correct.
and you're 48 years old,
Yes.
2 years younger than me.
Yep.
My personal take on you, Tom. First time I met you, there was a superintendent that I had been working for a different builder, had moved to go work for a shell company that you were with at the time. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, Keith, we got a couple houses. Would you be interested in knocking them out for us?" I agreed because I knew that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And through him, I met you. You were like the head superintendent for this particular company. I got the impression that you were a man of your word. I got the impression that I could trust you. You just gave off this vibe, like that you had integrity. And I went a different way in our construction company. Like that type of work, we went a different way, and I hadn't seen you for a while, even though we had been in contact. I hadn't seen you for a while. And the first time I met you, you were out of shape.
Yes.
Typical of people that are under stress. You're overweight, trying to manage jobs, not taking care of your own self. And then I didn't see you for a while. The next time I saw you, I don't even know if you remember this, but I was up early in line with a coffee at Circle K.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy in front of me turns around and says, "Hey, Keith." I recognized the voice, but I didn't recognize the person. Tom, you had like transformed your body, brother.
Yes. So when you and I first met, I was at the heaviest I had ever been, which was 270 pounds at that time.
Mm.
I had been transferred to this area, the Fort Myers area from Indian River County, 8 months ahead of my family, under a lot of stress, trying to run a division, basically. Eating out of a brown paper sack most meals, and that was life. So, and then in 2015, had a little medical issue. Ended up in the hospital. Ended up having to have gallbladder surgery, and that turned it around for me.
Well, you took it seriously.
Yeah.
Because I looked at you and like, man, that dude, something happened. In fact, so much so that like you and I were in contact with fitness and stuff for a while.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I remember was my wife was in some type of a business, and she was like selling some products, and your wife had came over. She was interested in the products, so you tagged along.
Right.
While they were doing their thing, you and I were working out in my barn.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a particular program I thought my fitness level was tight till I worked out with you. Yeah, you and I did a workout.
We did.
We ran. We did some Olympic lifting that I'd never done before, and you buried me. You buried me, and I thought I was good. So that kind of like I said, hey, what program you doing? You told me what program you're doing. So I actually switched programs, and I've been doing that programming ever since that was. And so that same day that you and I were working out, you got a phone call. And again, I don't know if you remember this.
Yes.
But you got a phone call from your son. And I could tell he was going through something. And you were just listening to him. I was giving you your space, but I could overhear. You were just listening to him. Hey, Bubba, it's going to be okay. Like you were giving like solid advice in like a tone that settled me. I'm thinking, man, that kid's got a good dad. I got 7 kids. I'm thinking, like, that guy has probably been through some things for him to be settled in this storm that his boy's going through. You weren't getting caught up in it emotionally, and I still don't know what your boy was going through, but I know, like, you were giving him settled advice from a place of stability. And, man, I respect that about you. Like, taking care of your fitness early on, not just for yourself, but for the ones you love. And that's why when I started this podcast, I went through my phone of people I know. That's why you were one of the top 3 or 4, because that had an impact on me. And I don't even know if you knew it. I didn't know if you knew that. But yeah, you're solid, brother. You're solid. Anyway, Tom, everyone that comes on the podcast gets a Still Strong hat. These are Richardson 112s. My kid tells me they're the best. So hopefully,
Appreciate it.
while you're out there doing your stuff, you can represent us. So let's get rolling, man. Let's start from the beginning. Like I said, I told you I heard from 0 to 7 is the hardwiring of what makes us who we are. Then from 7 to like 12 or 13, developing our relationships and whatnot. Then by 25, it's all wired up and we are who we are. But like 80 to 90% is like those first early years. So let's just kind of go through.
Yeah.
As the man you are today, what shaped you and all that good stuff. We'll just take our time and knock it out.
So, born to immigrant father. Mom was from Texas. Dad's from Mexico. Dad first came over when he was 18. Migrant workers. And I grew up in that lifestyle. Okay. Last year, I've for the first time heard the story from my dad. At 4 years old, I was put to work.
Wow.
In a tobacco field in North Carolina. So as he was telling me the story, it was right around the time my mom would have been pregnant or just given birth to my sister. In order for us to get housing, we had to have 2 people working. So Dad put me to work.
At 4 years old?
At 4 years old. And that was kind of the lifestyle. For the next few years was working in groves. I remember being in elementary, taken out of school because it was time to go to work. Picking oranges, working the fields, doing whatever needed to be done. At that time, I remember life being good. I remember having my cousins around. I didn't realize it was work. To us, we were playing in the fields.
Yeah.
Is what it was for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how kind of started. At 7, about the age of 7 is where Dad stopped doing migrant work.
Okay.
Dad settled us in Fellsmere, Florida.
Okay.
He became a truck driver at that point in time. And it was looking back at my childhood, there was about 2 years where I had a childhood. When I say that, it was I wasn't having to work. I wasn't having to be out in the fields and do those type of things. Dad was now, a truck driver.
Oh.
We had a settled home. Mom wasn't having to work either. It was a home for the first time.
And you felt that.
Yes.
You felt that transition as a kid.
Yeah, I did. I remember being in that home in Fellsmere was the first time I learned about baseball from a neighbor.
About what?
Baseball.
Oh, baseball.
Yep.
Got it.
I had no idea what they were playing. I'm sitting there when I'm watching them,
Mm.
and I'm going, "What are these kids doing? This is foreign to me.
Wow.
Never seen it before."
Wow.
So learned how to play baseball there. Learned how to play football in the backyard. Still had never been on a league, never done anything of that nature. So desperately wanted to do so, right? It was my childhood at that point in time. And I got to play, not much, but I did get to play a little bit of Little League. I played some football in middle school and high school.
Hmm.
Mom and dad were busy working. I don't think that they ever made it to a game of mine.
Hmm. Not because they didn't want to, but
Right,
because the bills were close.
The bills were coming.
The bills were coming, and you can't stop.
Yep.
I know what that's like.
In that house is the first year we had Christmas.
Explain that.
So up until that point in time, we had never celebrated Christmas. We were on the move. We were going.
Oh, because the lifestyle.
Yep.
The farming. You're the
following the seasons.
Got it.
For whatever reason, in that house is the first time I remember celebrating Christmas. Talked to my dad a few years ago about that, and he said, "Yeah, that's the first time we did it."
Wow.
So I would have been right around 7 years old when that happened.
Wow.
It was. I don't remember anything I got. I remember my sister being really happy. I remember, her having, being able to be a child.
You remember feeling that way for your sister?
For my sister.
That's interesting.
Yep. Personally, to me, like I said, I don't remember what I got. I remember us having it, celebrating it.
Yeah.
Remember my sister really happy, being a child.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about your Christmas, and you're talking about working with your dad, being pulled out of school to go with your dad. When I was between ages of 5 years old and 10 years old, my dad moved to Greenville, South Carolina. Our family did.
Mm-hmm.
He was putting himself to college to become a minister. And then he also painted houses and stuff like that to pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember getting pulled out of school in kindergarten, second or third grade to go help dad. You know what I mean? To go help dad.
Yeah.
I remember as the oldest child, like I just knew we were living differently than everybody else.
Right.
I didn't despise it. It was just it was our life, but I just could tell, like, I'm feeling stress here that it doesn't seem like other kids my age in school are feeling.
So I didn't feel that. Again, we're in a migrant community, so everybody around me is like that. My cousins are out in the fields. The kids that I'm going to school with are out in the fields. We're all getting yanked out of kindergarten, first grade, so that because it was picking season. It was whatever season it was, and we needed to get out there. And I look at it back now. You mentioned I have 3 grandchildren. First T-ball game last night.
Well, good job.
Okay. 4 or 5 year olds, and I'm watching them out there, and it was cute to watch, but they have no clue what they're doing, right?
Right.
So made me think to myself this morning. I'm going, as I'm thinking of my story to come be with you here, and I went, how much help could I have really been at 4 years old out in that tobacco field? How much more work did I put on my dad at that point in time, or that he put on himself so that we could have housing?
Yeah, that's a good thought. That's a good thought. Back to your Christmas, what I was going to get at is I remember one of the first Christmases that I remember was in South Carolina. We couldn't afford a tree, so we went and took the 3-wheeler out and we cut one down, strung popcorn around it. We didn't wrap the gifts because the wrapping paper for the family our size, you could buy like another gift for what you would spend on
Right.
wrapping paper. So they got newspaper, wrapped it in newspaper. But I remember coming downstairs at Christmas. I can still see it. My dad bought us all bikes. And it was the bike that I wanted. It was the bike I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid in me couldn't wait to get that thing out and tear it up, like get after it.
Right.
But the other side of me was, this is too much. Like I felt guilty that I got what I wanted because I knew my parents were, like I knew we were living differently. I like, okay, where did this money come from? Like I was
Right.
worried about my parents. I really couldn't enjoy it. I felt guilty having it, even though it's what I wanted. You know what I mean? So when we talk about those things that early on that shape you,
Yep.
like I still today, I can afford some stuff, but there's that tension in my stomach. There's this knot in my stomach that says, I shouldn't be doing this. Like again, it comes back to our hard wiring,
Yes.
the things we're exposed to. And to be in the migrant community at 4 years old, just being pulled out of school and that was your life, brother. Like that's some hard wiring, man. That's some hard wiring. And then now you're watching other 4-year-olds just out there oblivious, chasing butterflies
Right.
while they're playing t-ball.
Yep.
And you had responsibility on you at 4
Yep.
years old and like making those connections. How helpful really was I to my dad? Like, yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, I remember my sister being just a kid, just really enjoying the moment.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, I didn't really enjoy it. It was something we did. It was the first time we had done it. My sister was 3.5 years younger than me, so she 4 years old. She didn't go through that lifestyle.
Right.
So it wasn't that I didn't enjoy it, but it was new to me.
It was new.
So in that house, like I said, it's the first time I learned about baseball and I learned about football, and we'll get into that later on in the conversation and how that came to be for me. As you mentioned, 17 years of coaching. But I remember back in my childhood, that was my childhood, that house. Because up till then, it was a migrant worker.
You were getting moved around.
Yep, being moved around.
So you said your dad was from Mexico.
Yes.
You came over on the H-2A program to do migrant work, or?
So he came over to do migrant work. He was 18 when he first came across the border.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't come legally. He came across without a visa or any way of being. Just came over and started working.
Started working in the fields.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's where Mom and him met.
Okay.
Okay. Mom, like I said, was from Texas. We're many generations now. My family from my mom's side being in Texas, but they were still migrant workers. They still moved around with the seasons, and Mom and Dad met on a cotton field.
Wow.
Is how they met.
Wow.
Yep.
So, because when you talk about, that's what made me think about when you talked about your dad and then he became a truck driver and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I know H-2A workers, you come to you, they work seasons and then they go back. So that's why I got kind of confused when you said, hey, we're doing migrant work and then we had our first Christmas. So your dad came over illegally at 18.
At 18.
Working in the fields, trying to make a better life for himself.
Yep.
Met your mother.
Yes.
Eventually, did he get his...
So he got his citizenship when I was probably 3 or 4 years old, about that time. So he would have been mid to late 20s by then.
Got it.
So he'd been here maybe 8-10 years illegally before he got his citizenship.
Did he ever talk to you about why he came over, or why he chose to cross the border illegally? Why didn't he just
So yeah, so he came because he wanted to make a better life for himself. Mexico's a tough place, and back then they were very poor. They lived in a one-room house. Literally one room is what he told me. Was everybody just slept on the floor, and it was a dirt floor at that point in time. Got pulled out of school at the age of 7, 8 years old because he needed to work and help the family. And that's what he did. And in order to make a better life, he had a couple of friends, he said, and his one of his older brothers had come over the year before, came home with a pocket full of money, and Dad said, well, heck, I want that too, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why he came.
Did he even try to come over the legal way, or was it just
No, I don't.
his brother said, "Hey, dude,
Yep.
just cross it." Like
Yeah,
it's
just cross it. We can go work the fields. And at that point in time, that's what they did, you know. So he did that. He came over. He's been here since then, basically.
Got it.
He's been back home and, you know, visited, but he's been here in the U.S. since the age of about 18.
I think you know, the political climate right now.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like things are either black or they're white. But life is rarely black or white.
Yes.
It's easier to make things black or white.
Yes.
Things are rarely black or white. At the end of the day, there are laws, there are rules and stuff like that. But I think the majority of the people that you're describing are your dad.
Yes.
Just so poor and desperate. And that freaking process to come over the right way, it's expensive and it takes too long.
Yes, it does.
It's too long, man. So something like, you know, we live in Florida. We have a bunch of migrant communities around here. Like, this is our wheelhouse. This is where we live. But I can't fault somebody for trying to make a better life for himself. And because I would too, and I'd pay the consequences. And then the man became a citizen and then like built a life for himself, man. That's inspiring.
Yep.
It's inspiring.
Yeah. So he, like I said, he was here. He was working. He was doing his thing. You know, trying to better his life and you know, provide for us and give us a better life than what he grew up in. And you know, it didn't quite go that way for him and us in our childhood. You know, with me being a migrant worker still, you know, for a few years there, but getting a few years of being a child.
Right.
You know, mentioned mom. You know, mom was born and raised in Texas, but same thing. You know, very poor. My grandfather, Native American Indian.
Wow.
Grandmother Mexican, but many generations
Man,
in the U.S.
You got some native roots.
Yes.
That's awesome.
You know, my grandfather fought in World War II.
Wow.
6 or 7 years he was in the service.
Wow.
Front lines. Just recently learned that and thought to myself, okay, well, that explains a whole lot of that man. What I do know, I didn't know him very well or spent much time with him, but the time that I did spend with him was very quiet. He didn't say a whole lot. And when I recently learned that he was on the front lines for the entire time of World War II, says a lot.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting because I've said this before on the podcast, but I got to know like the inside view of my dad when I was like 6, 7 years ago. And I had a hard time understanding him until then. But he like opened up to me and told me about his childhood and like some traumatic stuff. And it helped me understand the person that he is today. So when you draw those lines to your grandfather, he was real quiet. And then you just realized, you know, he was on the front lines and some stuff. Like it's, you never really know the full story on someone.
Right.
Do you?
No.
You never really, and then when you do learn about him, like, oh, that makes sense.
Right.
So I'm learning to, at 50 years old, to be aware that when I think I know everything, I really don't. And to just give some people some grace. I think most people are doing what they think is right.
I would agree. You know, we
don't know what we don't know.
Right. You know, and that's, I've drawn those lines, you know, over the last couple of years myself of realizing that, you know, I don't know it all and I don't know what everybody else is going through and having to have some control over my emotions and
Yeah.
how I feel about somebody or how I feel about a situation that's going on at the moment.
And to leave some room there that, hey, I'm only seeing what I'm seeing right now in the timeline that I see the situation, and I could be seeing it wrong. I could be wrong.
So,
and not to make such hard judgments
yep. So
on people. Yeah.
Yeah, so getting back to mom, like I said, mom had a third grade education. When I say she had a third grade education, again, migrant worker. So she was
hold
taken
on a
out of
minute,
the field.
But she's in Texas.
Yes, sir.
She's in Texas.
Yep. Yep.
Third grade education.
Third grade education in the U.S., and that would have been in the 60s.
That's interesting.
Like 50s to 60s. So
that says something about that time frame. Those, when you look at in history class, the like during the Old West, they'd have these big families. And they'd have these big families because you bred workers. Like you need workers to keep things moving. Like everything was about manpower way back then. You know what I mean? So you'd have these big families, not to get them to work. So that carried on all the way into the late 50s and 60s.
Yep. So you'll need to excuse me. I do need to take a break. I hear my alarm going off, and that means something for me.
Got it. Let's do it.
Yep.
All right, we're back. We're talking about your mother.
Yep.
We're talking about third grade education. We were talking about how kids were to work.
Yep.
And then that wasn't just way, way back in the day. That carried all the way to the 50s and 60s.
Yep. So she was one of 6 sisters and 4 brothers.
Wow.
So big family.
Yeah.
And for that reason.
Proves my point.
Yep. As they needed everybody working. And all my aunts, uncles, that was the lifestyle. So it carried over into me. Not my sister. That's kind of where it stopped. And for our family, I'm the last of the generation that went through that.
That experienced that.
Yep. So, like I said, mom and dad met cotton field. She was 16. He was 22, 23 years old at that time.
Yeah.
And a year later, here I come, Yeah. So, mom was very loving, very caring, extremely hard worker. Just part of the life back then. Everybody seems like back in that time, everybody was just a hard worker. Everybody just they did what needed to be done to take care of the family and make sure we had what we needed.
I appreciate people like that, man. Like I appreciate people like that. I got a neighbor that's a farmer, and I'm trying to get him on the podcast. He's just really busy. But we recently had the freeze here.
Yep.
And his wife said, "Hey, Keith, you want to come out and see how we protect the crops?" Yep. And I went out there. I shot a little video of these H-2A workers.
Yes.
Just getting after it. But they were laughing. They were it was like the vibe was like, you know what I mean?
Yep. They're
doing what, and they'd been working all night to cover these plants to protect them. And, man, I just love that kind of lifestyle, that gritty work ethic, just happy. And I posted that video, and most of it was positive. And then you get some, where's ice when you need them? You know what I mean? Shut up. So you got these people here that are freaking doing what needs to be done, that are feeding us, and they make these stupid comments. Like, people like that, people like how you were raised and grown up, bro. We need people like that. I came up that way. And they deserve respect. Your mom and dad deserve respect. Look at the life that you have, because they just kept getting after it.
Right.
When they had no education, third grade education, but still made it happen, bro.
Yep.
Props and respect to people like that. I love people like that.
As you mentioned, they were out there laughing. I watched that video that you posted, and it brought to mind my cousins and I running around in the fields, and we were working, but we were still children, out there.
Crazy.
So
Yeah.
and I remember the good times of being out there in the fields, and my aunts and uncles and cousins and my mom and dad and all of us sitting around together eating.
The family's together.
Yeah, the family was together, and we would eat together, and most of the time we lived in the same camp. Because that's what we lived in was migrant worker camps. I mentioned my dad putting me to work, and the only way for us to get housing was for two people to be working. And if you didn't have two people working, you didn't get housing in camp and at the migrant camp. So it was either that or move on to another farm to try to gain work. Well, that's where all my aunts and uncles were and my cousins. So got put to work.
I'm just curious that lifestyle. I respect that lifestyle. I love people that are cut from that cloth. My family, we weren't migrant workers, but we come from a strong working background. That's why you and I connect. But I was just curious, as you're talking, did anybody take advantage that you can remember during that time frame?
I would have been too young to remember. Looking back, I'm sure it happened. I've heard stories of some things that have happened. I personally don't remember seeing it or have memory of it or recollection of it. So hard for me to speak on it other than what I hear secondhand.
There's a verse, and I can't quote the verse, but it talks about a person will make entreaties to like a king or someone who's higher than them. They'll make requests, but someone who they view as lower than them, they talk to them harshly.
Right.
Mankind is in God's image, and we're all on the same plane.
Yep.
And like I said, those guys out there that were working, I respected them. Like, I loved those guys.
Yep.
And this mindset that, well, someone is here or here, like it's a facade, and we should treat everyone with respect and equal. Yeah.
So I don't want to talk too much about it, but what's going on in today's politics is, I'm torn. Here I am, a migrant worker's child, yet I have a loyalty to this country.
Yeah.
So it does pull from both directions to me.
And you don't have the prerogative to make it black or white.
Correct.
You're living in it.
I live in it.
You grew up in it.
I grew up in it. I live in it.
It's a tough situation.
I have family members on both sides right now.
It's a tough situation. Yeah. Interesting. All right.
To say, going back to the house, where I say my childhood happened, it was brief. We were there a couple of years. 1986, December 24th, Dad leaves the house. That's the divorce that came.
Oh.
How
old were you?
I was 9.
Oh, man.
And childhood ended. At that point in time, like I mentioned, Mom had a 3rd grade education. All she knew was to be a migrant worker. She went back to working in the packing houses. When it wasn't season, well, then what do we do? What does she do? So she's scraping by. I go to work, still going to school, but doing every job I can think of after school, and scraping any kind of money I can to bring home to Mom. And we were living poor. There was many times there wasn't enough money for food or to pay the light bill. But somehow we scraped by and we managed.
Why did your dad leave?
So my mom filed for a divorce. Dad was a good man. But Dad was a bit of a womanizer back in
Understood.
those days. So, Mom and Dad, Mom decided it was best for her to not be involved with that anymore, and
Understood.
um, Dad didn't completely leave, but he was no longer in the house.
Mm.
And when I say, I did odds and end jobs, I remember going and mowing lawns. I remember going and working at the hardware store, 10 years old. They would only give me 2 days, so that wasn't enough money. So then I started working at the feed store. They would only let me work a couple days, and
Because of child labor laws and
Yep.
stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, you can only do so much.
So I had multiple jobs all the time, and scraping any money by that I can to help Mom and help feed my sister, and be able to help support us as much as I can. And those few years, or that about 2 years, is what it was before Mom remarried. But it was a time when I seen a lot of poverty,
Mm.
a lot of just no Christmases, no birthdays, no. We had to survive.
Hmm.
Um,
Do you remember some of your thought process during that time frame? Were you bitter? Did you get bitter against your dad? Like emotionally? Were you like, explain to me what was going on in your child brain during those 2 years when you're working and like struggling, and like
so
what was your mindset? Where were you at emotionally?
emotionally, I was good. I was, what do I need to do next to help Mom?
There you go.
What do I got to do? What do I got to do to help Mom so that sis can eat, so that we can have the light bills turned on?
You didn't have time to.
No.
You didn't have time to feel sorry or to do whatever. Like,
Right.
you're built like me. Okay, this is the cards I'm dealt.
Yep.
How do I get after it?
Yep.
At an early age, when most kids are just oblivious.
Yes.
You're a man right now at this
Yep.
age. Got it.
Dad wasn't completely gone and out of the picture. He was still around. He was still, but we would see him every now and then.
Got it.
He was around for probably 2 years at that point in time before he left completely to Texas, which is at the time when the relationship really severed from then on between Dad and I. But with Mom, it was, helping her and doing what we could to get to the next day. And we took it one day at a time, one season at a time. And, when that first year was tough, when she started working at the packing house, I remember her coming home, with the first paycheck, and she says, "Mijo, you don't have to work." So still got after it, still went out there and worked, but she worked long hours to try to provide and give us something good that time frame, and put as much money away as she could, because I was out there trying to get after it.
Man, mamas, God built mamas, bro. God built mamas like strong. Like, men are physically stronger.
Yep.
But there's something about a woman, a mother.
Mm-hmm.
Something about a mother.
Yep.
That can carry a heavy freaking load, bro.
Yep.
And not just be soft and gentle as a mother and caring and nurturing as a mother, but be a provider, man. Like, thank God for good moms, man.
Yeah. So
you had a good one.
Yeah, she was amazing. She really was. Her my heart breaks for my mom, because she had a rough life, hard life. Here she is, mid-20s, 2 little kids. I'm out there trying to do whatever I can to try to help her. She's been divorced already. No education. So what does she do? She does what she knows. And
She does what she knows what to do.
yeah. She met a fella that became my stepdad, which she married. Um, wasn't a good situation.
No.
Um, you know, wasn't a good situation. A lot of mental abuse for me
Mm.
from him. Just a lot of tell me how worthless I was and how why don't you just leave and go get out of the house? You know, your father didn't want you. That's why he's gone. Um, and ultimately, he was the one that sexually abused my sister as well.
Mm.
So when that came to light, mom divorced him immediately.
Where's that guy at now?
I have no idea.
Mm. How old were you when this was going on?
This would have been about 11, 12 years old. So old
So
enough
listen-
for me to know what's going on. And I didn't know about the sexual abuse, but old enough for me to really start to connect the dots.
Okay, old enough for you to know what's going on. Remember what I told you about 0 to 7 is the hardwiring?
Mm-hmm.
And then from 7 like 12, 13 is the emotional stuff, like where you're having friends and like, okay, where do I fit in this? So during that time frame, you got this guy mentally abusing you when that stuff is going on, where you're trying to figure out who you are as a person. This is during this time frame.
Yeah.
This time frame where you're at. It's okay, who am I? What's my identity? And you have this guy interjecting these thoughts into your head. You're worthless. Why don't you just leave? When you're trying to figure out who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's damaging. At that age, that's damaging. Like, it hurts as a man, but you can take it because you know who you are.
Right.
Like, kick rocks, man. I know who
Yeah.
I am. But at that age, those words are heavy. They sink down deep because now, is this who I am? Like, that's when all that stuff is going
Mhm.
on.
So it drove the next few years for me.
Okay.
Okay. You know, watching mom go through some of that verbal abuse. I never saw the physical abuse, but I later came to find out that there was physical abuse as well. You know, so just a bad situation. You know, my mom struggled her whole life. She unfortunately never found a good man.
Mm,
Um, she went through a few.
really?
Yeah.
That's sad because if she went through a few, here she is. This hits close to home. Because I got a sister. What's a woman want? A woman wants to find someone to live a life and have their happily ever after with
Mhm.
a provider, protector. That's, at the end of the day, that's all a woman wants.
Yep.
That's what they're looking for. And then you have these takers that talk a good game and then manipulate, right?
Yep.
They take advantage of what this woman's dream is and use it for their own manipulation. I hate that. I hate that, especially
Yep.
when it's a cycle, when it's a cycle like that.
So yeah. So you know, this guy comes along. We're going through the abuse in the house. It was all very quiet. Nobody knew who was being abused and who wasn't. You know, he was very good at singling us out and
Keeping
when
us secluded.
and when nobody else was around. And you know, so at that point in time, he doesn't work. He had a broken leg. I remember, you know, when mom met him, he had a broken leg and he wasn't able to work. So, you know, mom's still struggling. I'm still out there working.
Oh,
Now I'm not just helping my mom and my sister. Now I'm
man.
providing for this,
You're taking care of this guy that's
mentally abusing me.
you. You're feeding him.
Yep. You know, so going through that for About 2 or 3 years is how long that marriage lasted. And,
Okay. So I asked you before with you and your mom, what was your mindset? You said, "Oh, dude, I was locked in. I'm just helping my mom.
Yeah.
I'm good." So what's your mindset now?
still
you-
that.
Did you ever think about killing this man in his sleep?
No, no, never a thought. It was always, how do I get mom out of this? How do I get us out of this? Not how do I get myself out of this. It's how do I get mom out of this? What can I do to help mom out more and get my sister out of what's going on here? I didn't know what was going on, but I had a feeling
You felt
that
it.
something wasn't right.
You
If he's
felt
doing
it.
this to me, what's he doing to mom and sis when nobody's looking, when nobody's around?
But you never had a conversation with your mom or your sister?
No, we
He paralyzed you guys. He kept everything
Yep.
separate and paralyzed. Yeah.
and at this point in time, Dad had moved to Houston,
So, you can't even ask Dad and say, "Dad."
Dad was gone by then. So we lived it, dealt with it. I buried myself in work. When I said that it shaped the next few years of my life. I was 12 years old the first time a friend of mine came to me says, "Hey, when we smoked this joint together," I didn't know what the heck that was.
Right.
I just said, "Yeah,
Let's do it.
let's do it." So that was an escape for me.
Got it.
That was an escape. I went, okay,
Got it.
I can do this.
Wow.
So anytime things got bad, anytime things got mentally tough at that point in time, here I'm 12, 13 years old. It was drugs.
So Tom, remember what I told you about black and white?
Mhm.
Remember what I told you about when you think you got somebody figured out, you really don't?
Yep.
You look at drug addicts.
Mm-hmm.
What's the story behind that you don't know?
Yep.
Before you go making a judgment,
Yep.
before you go make an accusation, what do you not know?
Mm-hmm.
You can't go wrong by slowing your roll and showing a little grace and love and mercy because you don't know.
Yep.
You don't know.
Yep.
So you, like your mom, she reverts back to what she knows. She works.
Mm-hmm.
You revert back to what you know. I'm just going to work harder.
Yep.
And then you found an escapism, escape
Yep.
mechanism.
Yep.
At 12 years old, when things are still being wired up.
Yes.
Got it.
So alcohol came in the picture, along with, that as well, soon after, and then it just became part of me.
You have no mentor. You
Correct.
have no role model. You have
Correct.
your mother, but your mother's working, just trying to
Yep.
survive. You have no one giving you any guidance.
Yep.
You're the man of the house.
Essentially, yes.
You're the man of the house,
Yep.
essentially.
So, and that led to me being a terrible, terrible child in school. Didn't want to be there. In my eyes, I needed to be working. I didn't have time to be in school. I would purposely get in trouble to get suspended so that I could go make more money.
Wow.
Because a week of suspension meant a full week's worth of work for me that I could help mom out with.
Wow.
And then
So hold on a minute. Again, when I talk about mentorship and people not knowing the full story, did you ever have a teacher that took an interest in you and said, "Hey, Thomas, what's going on, brother? Like, what's going on, buddy?"
no,
Or was it just hard judgment?
it was, didn't really have anybody that really stepped in there to find out what was going on. I had Coach Lunsford, because I started playing middle school football. Was pretty good. So Coach Lunsford took an active
He took an interest in you.
interest in me, not to find out what was going on at home, but to get on me and get after me when I did act up in school. And
He was a disciplinarian.
yep,
So he took an interest in you, but not to the extent that you needed.
right,
You needed somebody to talk to. You needed somebody that could just throw this
Yep.
out and you didn't have that.
No, it wasn't there.
The weed and the alcohol was
My escape
your
route.
escape route.
Going to work, and that's how I escaped. Was
Got it.
with had, like I said, I had many jobs from the time I was 9 years old on. I kept multiple part-time jobs because that's what I had to do when I was 12. Soon after I turned 12, I took a job at a horse ranch. Never forget it. I thought I was good. I was helping mom, and boy, I was bringing a few $100 home every
Wow.
week now because I'm mucking 32 stalls for $25 a day, which if I go there 6 days a week, I'm able to give mom a good chunk of money at the end of the week. So did that for a few years. Meanwhile, getting in trouble in school, doing other side jobs. Mom divorces this guy.
Finally.
I'm 15 years old and get a girl pregnant.
When your mom divorced him, did you feel like you could breathe for a minute?
No.
Having him out of the house didn't feel like a relief?
No. It just, okay.
But by now, you're already numb.
Yep.
You're already numb to stuff.
Yep.
Got it.
It was just another day. It's okay. Let's move on to the next thing. And
you're numb because of the drugs, alcohol isn't working. You just got it. So 15.
So 15, get a girl pregnant. My oldest son.
Wow.
Who was born when I was 16 years old.
Wow.
She's 15 as well. At that time, mom's gone through another, man in her life. He's gone now. My son's born. My mom was around for a couple of months. She comes to me and she says, we're moving to Texas.
Your mom's moving to Texas?
She says, your sister and I are going to Texas. You're a man now.
Wow.
And that was it. I mean, it was a simple conversation like that she says, you're a man now. You have a child. You need to figure this out. And, she was going through her own stuff, having, another failed marriage. So she leaves. So here I am. I'm 16 years old, got a child, have a girl living with me that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why was she going to Texas?
Her family. Her family was all there.
Okay, so she was just like, what, I'm just going to reboot. I'm going to just recalibrate.
Yeah. So the thought process was, go be near family. They'll help me out. They'll be able to support me. And
did she ever get that in her life?
No.
She never did.
Not until years later, and it came from my wife and I.
Wow.
So she leaves. Here I am, 16 years old. I quit school. Cycle's going again. I have an 8th grade education.
Wow.
Till this day, that's what I have is an 8th grade education.
Wow. But listen, hey, we're going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But, you're living proof that you don't need, it makes it easier when you have an education.
Yep.
But you don't need it.
Yep.
There's that tenacity.
Yep.
There's the land of opportunity that we live in. There's our mind that can figure things out. You are living proof, man, that you can be successful in what you do without education. It makes it easier. And the path that you're on is a hard one, man.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. It looks like it's going to destruction right now, but you're sitting here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know your story.
Yeah.
But here we go, the cycle. Your mom had a 3rd grade education, and you've made it all the way to an 8th grade education. Yep. So here we go.
So here we go. Out of school now, and okay, I got a little boy I got to support. And his mama. We're not married by no means. We're barely dating when she got pregnant, and that comes from just not knowing, no education. Nobody educated me about that, So,
Let me ask you another question.
mhm,
You guys are living together right now?
yes.
What about the girl's dad?
So
What about her family? Did they like
so
they allowed you guys to live together?
they did not.
Oh,
They did
okay.
not. They were dead set against it. They wanted her to have an abortion.
Oh.
Okay. I was 100% against it. Absolutely not going to happen. I had the conviction, even though I had no idea or how to be a father or
Mm.
should have been a father, but I had the conviction that that wasn't going to happen. And, that comes from being raised in the church with mom and dad. Mom and dad did, have religion for us from early on. And, um, but I had that conviction that I was going to be a man, and
You had a conviction that that was a life,
yep,
but you also are responsible. Like you
yep,
know what responsibility feels like. You've been taking
yep,
care of your mom, your sister. So this is just a natural process for
right,
you. Like I'm used to this.
yep.
Got it.
So
So they were against it.
they were 100% against it. So at that point in time, they allowed her to come live with us, my mom and I, at the time. Mom leaves. By now, my son's born. That changes a grandparent's heart, right?
Oh.
um, so I end up moving into their house, um, for a couple of months,
Your
and
in-laws' house.
my
Got
in-laws'
it.
house.
Got it.
And I, my father-in-law at the time, he says, "Well, why don't you come to work for me?" At the time I was in and out of construction. I was still working at that horse ranch. I was doing a couple different things. I really didn't have anything steady, but had already left school.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a maintenance job. And he said, "Why don't you come to work here?" So I did that. Maybe lasted a few months. Got the opportunity to get into construction and went into construction. Um, and unfortunately, his mom and I we were kids. We were too young. You know, drugs and alcohol are involved.
Oh.
For me, I'm partying way too much. Um, you know, I'm providing by having money there to feed him. I'm there, but I'm partying as well.
Yeah, man, you make a good point. You make a good point. Like, you know how to make money, you know how to
Yep.
provide, but there's another side that you don't know how to do because you were never taught.
Yep.
That's the other stuff. That's the real stuff.
Yes.
That's the real stuff.
So
And you're just a kid too. No guidance.
No guidance. I'm learning on the go.
Yeah.
Um, get into construction. Start with a framing crew.
Yeah.
Okay. I think my son was maybe 3 months old at the time. So
Listen, you didn't bring him to work with you at 4 years old,
no,
did
I
you?
did not.
Come on, man. That's for old time's sake.
No, I didn't do that. But
All right.
her parents and I, we ended up getting along. We
Good.
ended up having a good relationship, even after
Good.
her and I decided that this wasn't working. And I don't put any blame on her.
Sure.
I know what I was doing was
Sure.
not what is expected of a husband and a father. Yes, I'm providing monetarily, but not emotionally. I'm not there. I was there for my son, but he would go to bed and okay, I'm going to party now.
Oh.
Okay, that was what it was like. So, she needed to finish school, so we had a decision to make. So I kept them. She moved back in with her mom and dad.
Oh, wow.
Here I'm just about 17 years old. I'm still 16, just about to turn 17. He stays with me.
That's unusual.
Yep.
And the fact that a mom would allow that to happen,
Yep.
or that the mom's family would allow that to
Yep.
happen, especially one, your age, and two, your lifestyle.
Yep.
So what was that? Like, how did that happen?
So it happened because she wanted to go finish school. Um, you know, at that point in time, it was a little bit of a reboot for my life.
Okay.
Okay. Um, Started slowly drifting away from that partying and the scene, and you know, home a lot more. Um, that happens. A few months later, mom and sister moved back to Florida. So now I have my mom around to help
Okay.
me
Mm.
with my son. Um, but yeah, that was tough. I mean, I I rented and lived in a trailer in a little trailer park. It was $50 a week.
Mm-hmm.
Was my rent, included my utilities, and um, it was a little piece of crap trailer, but by God, it was my home.
There you go.
And here I am at about to turn 17 and have a baby boy with me, and making it happen.
Man, I'm proud of you. I didn't know that about you, but
Yep.
I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of that 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Man, that's good.
Yeah. You know,
That's good, man.
to think back at that boy, 'cause
Mm-hmm.
that's who I was,
Yeah.
to what it is today. And the man that I am today is who I wanted to be back then. Just didn't know how to get there.
Wow.
So,
That's good.
yeah.
My you know, I didn't have to work as hard as you, but I worked. Like I was
Mhm.
homeschooled. I was homeschooled. My dad would send me to work with people,
Yeah.
the construction, and then it was in my blood. Like
Yeah.
man, it was in me. You
Yeah.
wanted me to go to college. I didn't want to go. I capitulated. Went for a year. They kicked me out because it was a waste of my time. Didn't want to be
Mhm.
there. Came back. Started dating my girlfriend again. We had met when she was 14. I was 16. You know, my wife Karen.
Mhm.
At 18 and 20, we got married. My son Terry showed up on the scene right afterwards. But something about, you know, I wasn't an alcoholic. I didn't do drugs. But, when you're young, you're still trying to figure out what
Mhm.
lifestyle you want to go. You're
Yeah.
still trying to figure it out. And I was on that fence. Man, something about kids, bro. And
It-
responsibility. When you said, hey, when I take care of my son, that's when all this stuff started fading out.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that I had the responsibility to take care of children early in life, because it kept me on the right side of the fence, because I didn't want them to go. There's a side of me that wanted to go this way,
Mhm.
but if I go this way, all these little ducklings are going to follow me.
Yep.
And I ain't going to do that.
Yep.
It kept me straight, man.
So yeah, that's where I was. I was at a turning point in my life. Which direction do I head?
Kids will do that.
And remember sitting one night going, I don't want what's happened to me for my son. So how do I make this not
Wow.
happen?
Wow.
Really, it's my son who pulled me out of it.
Wow.
Um,
That's good.
yeah, I was so proud to be a father.
Yeah. I can see it even
16
now.
years old, still proud to be a father. Um, so he and I are, we're living. Mom's still around. She's still coming around and seeing him, and he's going and spending weekends there with her. um, you know, you mentioned my wife. You met my wife. Soon after I meet my wife, we kind of start dating. When I say kind of start dating, we dated for a week. I just turned 18. We had met. A couple months go by. Can't get her out of my head. Keep thinking of her. Finally, in September, we cross paths again, and spent a long night talking.
Yeah.
Chased her down, really. And the next weekend, she moves in.
Wow.
She's 17. soon to graduate. I just turned 18, have a 2-year-old son, year and a half, almost 2-year son. And the reason she moved in was, and this is the first time I truly understood and faced racism.
What did you just say?
Faced racism.
You faced racism.
Yep. So her mother, her stepfather found out, Mexican as a kid already. By all rights, that's a no-go for me, right? Well, it was a no-go for her mom and dad. Aside from the Mexican part, the rest of it, I would have been the same way.
Right.
She had a choice to make. Here we spent one night talking, and her mom told her, well, you have a choice. If you want to date the Mexican, you can't live here.
Wow.
So she moves in. We've been together since.
So what kind of impact did you have on her that in such a short period she's willing to leave?
I have no clue, but she knew. She tells a story that she knew that night that we would be married.
Wow.
So, when you meet your soulmate, you meet your soulmate, and you know it right away, right? That's what my wife is for me. She's my rock. She's what steadied me. Between my son and her, she is the reason why I am the man I am today.
Your relationship with your in-laws, do you have one with them?
So, her stepfather, not really. Her mom and I, her mom just passed away.
Okay.
Last year. We were cordial.
Got it.
Okay. For many years, it was a relationship where we would say hellos at family gatherings, and that was the extent of our conversation. Until possibly, it's been about 6-7 years ago, is when the relationship kind of shifted, where we would actually have a conversation. I would hug her. She would hug me back, and we would say, I love you to one another.
Wow,
so
good.
But it took a long time.
Took a while.
Yeah. So, going back to meeting my wife, here I am, with a little boy, and she moves in. She steadies me. I'm in construction now. I've been working as in framing, and I knew that was my career path.
Yeah.
I remember as a 16-year-old on a framing crew, I said that, I faced racism before my mother-in-law and my father-in-law throughout the years, but they didn't really connect it to racism.
Oh.
Okay. The first framing crew that I went to work for, looking back now, I don't see it as racism. I see it as he was somebody who was trying to guide me.
Got it.
Okay. I go to work for this framing crew, and the crew leader just dogs me all day long, screaming, yelling at me, racist slurs all day long from the entire crew. I'm working with all white boys out there, and I'm humping. I'm getting after it every day. I took a lot of pride. You're a framer, so you'll know what I'm saying. Back in those days, you didn't fly your plywood in the bunks.
Mm-mm.
You set them up on A-frames.
That was my job.
Or you set them up on saw horses,
that
right?
was my job.
So I had 4 or 5 guys up on the roof, and we had 2 guys on the ground. They were cutmen. So as the laborer, it was my job to hump all that plywood and put it on A-frames and feed the cutman with lumber.
I can feel that intensity right now.
So,
keep everybody fed. I can feel it.
Yep. So I took a lot of pride in. They were never without plywood. They were never without lumber. I took a lot of pride in that I could carry 5 sheets of 5/8 at 16 years old in one hand and put it up on an A-frame. So
You were strong.
yeah,
Because what I was about to tell you is to keep up, I would carry 2 sheets at a time to keep up.
yeah,
2 sheets is heavy.
yeah,
5 freaking sheets
yeah,
is unbelievable.
yeah.
That's unbelievable.
It was
But
it was a sense of pride for me to do so, and I had the strength, I had the ability to be able to do so. I've always been a strong person with how I grew up and what I needed to do in life. I talked a little bit about Coach Lunsford, took an interest in me. He's the first one that put me in the gym and started working me out. And, whether that was self-interest for me to be a better football player for his team and make his team better, but it made me a stronger person, physically made me stronger. So, I took a lot of pride in that nobody could outwork me on that crew. It didn't matter whether they were grown men or not. I was going to outwork everybody on that crew. I don't care what you're yelling at me. I don't care what you're saying to me. I have a little one I got to feed at home. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, keep my nose to the grind, and just keep working.
when I was a kid working on framing crews on summers and stuff like that,
Mhm.
like I said, what you just talked about was my job, keeping the lumber moving.
Yep.
And I remember this one house we were framing. They just had me running, like keep the plywood loaded up.
Yep.
And without realizing what I had done, is I had stacked too many sheets of plywood on one side of the house, and they had already had it like it was close to being
Mhm.
sheeted. And have that framer stand on the roof and take his foot
Oh,
and kick that off the side of the roof
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, I want it over there."
uh-huh.
Bro, after I'd worked so hard, like
Uh-huh.
you just went like that. Like that was so easy. That was such
Yep.
an easy movement for him.
Yep,
But it was a lot. It meant a lot of work for me
it did.
to scoop it up and take it to the other side. But I
Yep.
can tell you what, I never did that again. I paid attention to how many. Like I counted them out. Said, "Okay, I never did that again."
So that happened to me early on, within the first week or so. That happened to me, and that never happened to me again.
Mm.
I made sure that I'm going to figure out what they need, and that I'm not going to allow them to get through that. So that first crew taught me a lot about construction, taught me a lot about how to truly strive for something and be better, and to learn a trade rather than just doing the job.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that. I'm glad we have this connection because I remember like sitting in school and thinking like this is a waste of time. Like how am I going to use this?
Mhm.
But I remember when my dad would when I was homeschooled, my dad would put me on construction sites. I remember feeling like I can use this. I
Yep.
remember having the thought I can use this to
Yes.
be better. I can use this. Like I didn't
Yep.
understand how I could use school,
Yep.
but I understood how I could connect some dots even as a kid. How
Yep.
I can use this. And I just turned my brain on and I just soaked it all up. Yeah.
Yeah. So the same for me. I mean, that's like I said, it was what I knew. Okay, this is my career.
Mm.
I didn't know what a career was, but I knew, okay, if I learn what he's doing, I can make more money.
There you go.
And if I learn what the foreman's doing, I can make more money. So I
Yeah.
made that connection right
Yeah.
then and there.
Yeah.
Within the first week or two, that okay, what do I got to do not to be doing what I'm doing right
Nice.
now? Number one, number two, how can I get these guys to quit screaming and yelling at me?
Oh.
So that I can move on from this and have a better work life. So
Listen, I'm so glad like where you're at now that you had said that hey, how can I get these guys to quit screaming at me?
mhm.
Because you could have went 2 ways.
Yep.
You could have said, "F you guys.
Yep.
These guys don't respect me. They're screaming at me. I'm like
Yep.
leaving." But you saw a pathway there, and you had this obstacle, and you stuck with it.
Yep.
Okay, how can I get this? How can I change? Man, something about perseverance and sticking with it
Yep.
when you're getting yelled at, when things are getting hard and heavy, but you still can see a pathway. And it's like, okay, if I can just figure this out, I can get there.
Yep.
A lot of people, it gets hard and they just stop. And dude, if you just would have stuck with it a little longer, like your life would have been a lot better.
It really, really is. So I made that connection early on with being with that crew. Racial slurs are being thrown at me. I'm not really paying attention to it. I'm too busy just keeping my nose down and working. And
See, I didn't have racial slurs,
mm-hmm.
but everybody knew my dad was a pastor.
Okay.
So I had stuff being slung
Yep.
at me.
Yep.
Oh, goody, and then people using profanity around me more just because they knew who my dad was.
Yep.
So I wasn't racial. It was like who my identity was, and like throwing stuff at me, or like I was 15, and I was riding with the two guys that I was framing with in the truck. They picked me up. I was riding with them. We were framing a little house in Immokalee.
Okay.
I remember taking that long ride down 21,
Mm-hmm.
and the driver's drinking a beer on the way to work, and the other one's smoking a joint on the way to work, and I'm sitting right in the middle. You know what I mean? I'm sitting right in the middle at like 14 or 15, and I wouldn't dare tell my mom or dad, what's going on, because I'm also working, and like, you know what I mean? So anyway, but it was like, I think a lot of that was just like to put it in my face. You know what I mean? Because of who I was, you know what I mean? Who my dad was. But anyway.
Yeah. So, that crew taught me a lot of
How to overcome adversity.
How to overcome adversity and deal with things that aren't comfortable,
Yes.
So a few months of being with that crew, the crew leader finally comes to me. I remember it was on a Friday. We're all sitting around in the garage, to the point of what you're saying, the guys are drinking beer and smoking weed, and I'm right there with them because was kind of who I was at the time, right? And he comes up and he says, "Vargas, I need to see you in the truck." In my mind, I'm like, what did I do now? What's this guy going to scream and yell at me about today, right? And, I get in the truck, and I said, what'd I do? And he says, what you did is you didn't quit.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I want to apologize.
Wow. You earned his respect.
He says, I've been screaming and yelling at you, hoping that you would quit and go back to school. He goes, why won't you? Why are you here?
Wow.
He didn't know. I said, well, I have a son at home that I'm taking care of. And he says, okay. He says, you are now my personal carpenter's assistant.
Nice.
So you're going to work alongside me, and you're going to learn everything as soon as possible.
Wow.
And we're going to get you making good money. If you got a kid at home and this is why you haven't quit, you're going to, now you need to learn.
So that was almost one of your first mentors.
Yes. He was my first mentor.
Wow. And you're 18.
17.
17, 18.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm 17 at the time when this happened. Worked with him, alongside him. He taught me to be a carpenter.
He just opened up your brain, and just started dumping what you needed.
And he did. I mean, I
love that.
It was constantly, every day was learning something new. And his name was Don, and Don was one of these, once I had earned his respect and once I had gotten to that point, he was a very calm individual when he explained things to you.
Got it.
When you mess something up, he would show you what you messed up and how to do it the right way the next time. And I was just a sponge. I was soaking it all up. I was taking it all in. I've often told people construction just came natural to me. Building a house to me is natural. I read a blueprint in 3D form, not in 2D form.
Wow.
I can see, I would look at a set of plans. I can see it from the ground all the way up. I can see all the nuts. I can see all the nails in it. I see it in my brain, all being constructed 3D. And I had that ability at that point in time when he's teaching me how to read blueprints.
You know what's interesting is you can learn two ways, and both ways of learning have their place in life.
Mm-hmm.
So one way, learning while someone's just riding you and won't stop. There's something about when your brain's under stress, you learn a certain way.
Yep.
And then the other way where someone's just teaching you without the anxiety, without, here's how we do this. Like there's both sides of learning.
Yep.
And they both have their place because you need to be able to figure stuff out under stress, be able to make the call under stress. But also, not every learning process has to be a stressful situation. You can just sit down and be calm and teach somebody in a systematic way.
Yeah. So.
And that sounds like a good mentor because he did both.
He did both, and he actually ended up making me a foreman before I was even 18 years old.
Wow.
And by now, I'm still smoking a little bit of weed. I'm still drinking, but not like I was before, And maybe on the weekends, not every night. I'm not partying anymore. I've got my wife is at home. I'm coming home to her, and,
Right.
um,
For you right now, a joint or a beer is just to relax from the
Yep.
day.
Yep.
You're not out there partying up all
Right.
night. You're just relaxing.
Yep. And it was something that was comfortable to me. It's what I had picked up
Mhm.
early on in my life. So I was still doing that, but he comes to me and he says, "I'm going to make you a foreman." He goes, "I know you don't know everything, but you're not a drunken and not a stoner, so you're going to be my foreman now." And he gave me a crew. And he gave me a crew because I wasn't out drinking every night like the rest of the guys. And, that was the first time as a 17-year-old boy that I'm now the foreman of a crew of men that are 30, 40 years old.
Yeah, man.
So that was a whole new learning experience for me as well.
We have something in common there because I wasn't 17, but like the builder that I was working for had an in-house framing crew. He ended up going out of business. I started my own business, and in my early 20s, started my framing company. And I remember that process. I just told my wife, I said, I just want to make it to 30 so people will respect me.
Yep.
Like people that would work for me, people would not want to work for me because I'm just this young punk kid.
Yep.
Or people wouldn't want to give me a job because you're 22. I said, I just wish I could be 30. I feel like if I was 30, like I'd earn people's respect.
Yep.
But you're 17.
Yes.
17, like steering the ship.
Yep. So that's kind of where I really started to dig in. Okay. Now, I'm turning on 18. I'm 18 years old. My wife and I have been together now for a little bit, a couple months. She's been living with me. She's steadying me. I've become a foreman now. I'm making money like I've never made before in my life. I'm doing good. Life is good for us, right?
Good.
So we're cruising along. The next few years was kind of like that time frame. Where
you
I'm
found
running
your groove.
Yep, I'm in my groove. I'm running crews. I'm making good money. Mom's back home. I'm helping take care of mom. At this point,
I was going to ask you, did it ever come full circle where you got where you ever got to take care of your mama? Say, hey, mama. I was wondering because that's beautiful.
So I'm helping take care of mama by now, and helping her. She's got another guy in her life. Same thing. So me taking care of mom came and went.
Got it.
Depending on.
But you were able to.
Yes, but I was there, and I was able to help her out. Throughout the years, and like I said earlier, it broke my heart to see my mom struggle like she did, and never finding a man that was able to take care of her. So for me to be able to do that, I took a lot of pride in it.
Yes, sir.
But I never felt like I had done enough for her.
Oh.
So my mom was, I've said it, I've always said I was a mama's boy. Mom was everything to me. So a couple years go by, now I'm in my mid-20s, I'd gotten out of framing. I'd got the opportunity to become a superintendent, and that to me was just the next stepping stone in my career. So I got out of framing and did that. Was making more money than I had made before. And mom starts having health problems.
Okay. So you're mid-20s. How old is your mom?
Mom is she was 17 when I was born. So she's
got it.
She starts to have health problems. We don't know what's going on. She's going in and out of doctors' offices, and this went on for a number of years. My wife, my middle boy was born at that point in time, so she was at home. She starts helping with my mom, getting her to doctor's offices, and my mom spoke poor English.
Oh,
so having my wife there to understand what was being said and be able to help her was huge. And quite frankly, I didn't understand that either. I didn't understand what these doctors were saying, or
Oh,
what needed to happen next.
right.
Um, so my wife took control of that.
She took that lead.
Yeah, she took the lead on that. Um, so for several years we struggled through that. We finally got mom in the Mayo Clinic. Was able to find out she had blood platelet issues going on, along with diabetes, and my mom was a heavy woman, so she had a laundry list of health issues.
Got it.
But my wife was there for her. My wife was able to comfort her and do a lot with her. Financially, I did what I could,
Right.
to make sure that she was able to see the doctors that I could afford.
Yeah. Which is what you've been doing your whole life.
Yeah.
You've been doing what you can.
So,
Yeah.
Mom passed away February 9th, 2010. So 16 years ago. She was 49 years old.
49.
She passed away from an accidental overdose.
Oh.
She had gone to a doctor. They had changed her prescriptions.
Oh, man.
And unfortunately, she took the wrong prescription at the wrong time. And I was with her 2 or 3 days before, so I got to see her. Got to hug my mom and tell her I loved her.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the toughest thing I've ever gone through in my life.
Because you guys been riding tight together since day one. It's been you and Mama pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, so although I did a lot for my mom,
you wanted to do more.
I didn't do enough.
You wanted to do more.
Yeah. So she took me a long time to even be able to see a photo.
Really?
Of my mom without complete breaking down. I'll be honest, I didn't even know the date till a couple nights ago when I asked my wife.
Really?
16 years, I did not want to know the day.
You didn't want to know. You just too painful.
Yeah.
What was your mom's name?
Her name was Guadalupe.
Guadalupe?
Everybody called her Lupe, or Mom. All my friends, everybody called her Mom.
Really?
Everybody in the family called her Mom. She was the glue that held everybody together. There wasn't many of us in Florida. Really, there wasn't any of us as far as family is concerned. I have some family in LaBelle, cousins that I talked about, that
right
when we were out in the fields together. But when Dad went away, that side of the family went away as well.
Yeah.
So it was Mom and I and my sister. Had a couple cousins from her side that lived here, and that was really it. I had one aunt and 4 cousins, and that was the family. That was it. So everybody called her Mom. Ma was her name, and to everybody.
Well, you know what? Listen, your mom had an extremely hard life, and cut short. But to have how you're describing her is that everybody called her Mom. This is a lot.
Yeah.
What's closer to anybody than a mom? That, to me, that's like the closest thing. That's the closest relationship is a mom. So for people to identify her as Mom, says a lot about her.
Yeah. Like I said, she was a very loving woman. She cared about all of us like her children. My cousins, all my friends, her and my wife had an incredible bond.
Good.
You hear stories where mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws don't get along. That was not my wife and my
That's
mom.
Good.
It was as tough for my wife as it was for me. when Mom passed away.
Hmm.
So, like I said, I didn't want to know the date. Couldn't look at a photo of her for years
Wow.
without completely breaking down. Just the other night I asked. My wife doesn't know this, but I completely broke down the next morning,
I'm sorry.
knowing that it had just happened.
Oh. Oh.
It was just a few days ago.
It was a few days ago.
Yep. And all that guilt for not doing enough for her came through again.
Oh.
And feeling guilty for what I have achieved today that she wasn't able to see.
I'm going to let you digest your own feelings. I'm not going to tell you how to think. Because I feel like I would put myself in your shoes. I think I would have the same emotions that you're having.
I know Mom would be proud. I know Mom would be.
But from sitting over on this side,
Yeah.
looking at you, don't be guilty. Don't feel guilty. It's going to take some time.
Yeah.
But listen to you describe this past hour and a half of your relationship with your mom and that all these wanting to get kicked out of school so you could go work to take care of your mom. That's nothing to feel guilty about, brother. That's nothing to feel guilty about. Your mom will be proud of you.
I know she would be proud. And just wish I could have done more for
I
her.
understand. If her life hadn't been cut short,
Mm-hmm.
the circle would have came full circle where you could have lavished on her.
Mm-hmm.
She just ran out of time. Like your
Yeah.
timeline of finding success and her timeline of being cut too short,
Yep.
that opportunity was taken from you. And I think that's what you're struggling with because
Yeah.
I wanted to hear that story of how I bought Mama a new car
Yeah.
or I did this or that. Like her life was cut short. Oh, man, it's
Yeah.
like so close, right? Yeah, I would struggle with that.
And,
would struggle
and
with
that's the guilt that comes,
Yeah.
is I was not able to.
Not for lack of trying. Not for
provide
lack
her
of
a good
trying.
life.
Not for lack of trying and not for lack of love.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be hard to come to terms with, though. I could feel that emotion. I would feel the same way.
So,
I think this is time for a break. I drink a pot of coffee. Plus, it's been real heavy.
yeah.
Been heavy. So let's take a break, catch a breath, and we'll come back and pick it up again.
Yeah.
All right. This part of the podcast is brought to you by Vance Ranch. Vance Ranch is our family 100-acre ranch in Henry County. We have a 6,000 square foot barn where we host wedding venues, corporate events, anniversary parties, and whatever else you want to use it for. Find the link in the bio. Now let's get back to the show. All right, brother, we're back. Some heavy stuff. Let's I know you had said that you were a coach, baseball coach and football coach for several years. Can we just kind of lighten the mood for a minute? I need
Absolutely.
a break. I need a break from the heaviness. Let's talk about how you invested in some kids, how that came around in that time of your life.
So, coaching goes back a little bit before my kids were even born. I told you I played some middle school football and played a little bit of little league. And in middle school, I was asked to help coach a flag football team. So I did that. So that's kind of where it got started for me. Then along come the boys. Here I am, early 20s, already have 2 kids. And what do you do with boys? They're like I mentioned earlier, I was proud to be a father. I was proud to mentor them and show them and give them something I wasn't able to have in life.
That's good.
And one of those things was youth sports.
Hey, thank you for breaking that cycle.
So
thank you for taking responsibility and breaking that cycle. That's a big lesson.
Yep. So that's how it got started. Was I started coaching my sons, and for the next several years, almost 17 years of my life, that was our life was youth sports. coached my son Chris, which you've met.
Yeah.
Coached him from the time he was 4 years old till high school.
Wow.
In both baseball and football, and mentored a lot of kids throughout the years. I'll never forget the day my wife and I are walking in a Walmart. This is back home in Sebastian, and this young family's coming through the door. They're pushing a baby carriage. He's got a full beard. Hey, coach, how you doing? I looked at this young man. I didn't know who he was. Told me his name, and I remembered his name. I had coached him years back because aside from coaching my sons, I would also help out with other teams or help out wherever I was needed, especially on the football field.
Where do you think that came from? Like you coaching and that dynamic. Where do you think that came from? Have you thought about it?
I have not thought about it, but it's, it came from a necessity, and the league needed somebody to coach. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed being out there with the kids. I got to live a little bit of my childhood through it.
Okay.
And I wanted for my boys to experience something that I did not get the opportunity to experience. So
do you think there's an aspect of it that you didn't get much mentorship, and like maybe you're able to like you just said, this kid, hey coach, like you're pouring into other people's lives behind you that you didn't get poured into. I was just wondering if you subconsciously could be a part of it.
It was a big part of it. Especially with the football team. When I first started coaching Chris in his football, flag football is how we started.
Yeah.
Okay. One little boy I ended up with this little boy, and it was just his mom and his grandma. His dad had gone off to prison. He didn't have a father at home, and for whatever reason, man, I just clinged on to him.
Good for you.
I took him under my wing. I mentored him, and to the point that when he would get in trouble in school, the school would call me, not mom and dad first, or mom and grandma. They would call me, and I would get him at practice and get after him. For many, many years of coaching that league in Sebastian for football, there were many, many years where you could have sworn that we had foster children. I mean, we just had kids in our house that I would pick up for practice. I would make sure that they would get there. I would, if they couldn't get to the game, if mom or grandma, a lot of single moms. Because of my story, I think I gravitated towards those kids and giving them something to.
See, this is good. This is good because you got to ask yourself, like, why? Why does this happen to me? Like, why is this so hard?
Yeah.
Just give it enough time.
Yep.
Give enough time, because the cards we were dealt, the story's not done yet. Yep. And then to be able to see how in time it comes full circle, where you have a heart for kids that I might be oblivious to, because you see something in them that resonates with you that I don't see. And to pick up on that and to invest in these kids' lives that are falling through the cracks.
And that's
hard that you dealt that life, but it shaped you to see things that other people cannot see, and to show some love that you did, and to be able to identify with that. And that's really what life is all about. Not just about working and like making a living, but taking what we've been given and investing it into someone else.
And that's truly what I was doing, was investing in these kids. I was truly invested in their lives, their home lives. I was part disciplinary, part father. I was part coach for them. When I said I was picking them up for practices, it wasn't just them. It was their siblings.
Wow.
We were just talking the other night, my wife and I, with my son, that it was not uncommon for us to have up to 10, 12 kids, boys in our house from Thursday through Tuesday, because mom's working, mom's busy. I'm taking them to school. My wife's taking them to school. We're getting them to the games. We're making sure they have everything they need. Though it was a true period in my life where everything was just clicking for us. The wife and I, everything was, we're having a great time. Financially, we're stable. You know, by no means are we, killing it, but we're stable.
Stable.
And I'm able to do this, and have the time to be able to coach. And, that was kind of the story with the football kids is we were able to mentor a lot of kids. We were able to help a lot of children be able to achieve things that I wasn't able to. When I say that, I had 14 boys that ended up going D1.
Wow.
That I've coached throughout the years. So
that'll gotta feel good, doesn't it?
It feels extremely good to be able to have done that for boys. Through as far as the baseball is concerned, a lot of kids that I mentored there, a little bit different family scenarios with the baseball kids versus the football kids.
How so?
Most of the kids that I coached had mom and dad. They had stable homes. They had
the baseball side.
On the baseball side, right? So it was a little bit different atmosphere with the baseball versus the football as far as the kids were concerned. But I still mentored those kids the same way. I still loved on them. I still would input wisdom on them. There's one player that reached out to me via Facebook not too long ago that worked for me, and he was a jokester. He always had a smart comment to make, on the baseball field. He was one of these kids that very well liked by everybody because he was the party of the, he was the life of the party type of kid, right?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, we were at a tournament up in Cocoa, and we were just stinking it up. I mean, we were just doing terrible. We're much better than this team we're playing, and we're not playing the way we're supposed to.
Not
and
clicking.
I was just fit to be tied with them, right? They were 12, 13 years old at that time. And he was pitching. His name's Austin. And I go out to the mound, fit to be tied with them. I call everybody over there. And on my way to the mound, I went, well, how am I going to do this? What am I going to say to these boys? Can't let off my aggression on them. They're 12, 13-year-old boys, right? And I said, what do we got to do to win this game? Or what do I got to do for you to want to win this game?
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
And Austin looks at me and goes, how about a beer and Hooters, coach? And
he's 12 or 13.
12 or 13 years old, right? And I did the same thing, just started laughing. And I said, I'll tell you what. I said, we win this game, Hooters. The beer will have to wait till you're over 21, right? Well, he messaged me last year. He's now over 21.
Oh, my goodness. So they won the game.
Says, Coach, I'm still waiting on that beer.
They won the game.
They won the game.
Wow, that's funny.
So, different mentorship, different styles of what those kids needed.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I was proud to be a father. I was proud to do that. I was truly in my element, of being able to give onto others that I did not given to me. So
you were built for that.
Yeah.
And again, like the things that come into our life aren't by accident.
Yeah.
They're for our purpose to make us a tool usable somewhere down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we, like you said, framing, I was built for it. Like you said, like when we find our purpose, doesn't it feel good?
It does.
It feels good.
And that was definitely a purpose of mine. Yesterday watching my son now out there coaching his son in T-ball. Good. I mentioned yesterday was the first T-ball game for the grandson and the granddaughter.
Yeah.
My son's now coaching. So that was a good connection for me to see this and go, okay,
nice.
This is what I sowed all those years ago.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you. I didn't know you did that for 17 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like It wasn't like you made it in life because you said, "Hey, by no means were we wealthy or anything. Like we
No.
were stable." So it wasn't like you're in a spot where you could just do this full time.
No.
You're still working. You still had your
Yep.
responsibilities, and you
Still
were doing
building my
this.
career.
You're still doing this at the same
Yep.
time. So that says a lot about you.
Yep.
Says a lot about you.
You know, my visited with my son up in Minnesota few weeks ago. You know, and he made the comment to me that had never dawned on me.
Mm.
He says, "I could not imagine having a 10-year-old son at 25 years old, Dad." He's 32 years old. He's married now, and they're looking to have children in the next couple of years. But
Yeah.
you know, at 25, I've already got 3 boys and out there coaching and mentoring other young boys and being able to do that for the community.
You just said something that struck home. Huh. I think by 25, my wife and I had 5 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're under load, you just get used to it.
Yep.
It's just what you do. This ain't nothing.
Yep.
Just get used to it. My wife would go to Walmart because we do grocery shopping once a month. Like we had a budget for our food, so
Mm-hmm.
once a month.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd put those babies in one cart and push them and go around and drag the other cart with the food in it.
Yep.
And we just did what we had to do,
Yep.
right? And then, remember when I said your brain don't fully wire till you're 25?
Mm-hmm.
I got 5 babies at 25, and my brain ain't hardwired yet.
Yep.
So you make mistakes, you do things,
yeah.
oh man, you look back like, man, I've botched that thing
Yep.
up. And then to be able to, when you remember those mistakes, to be able to have a conversation with your kids and say, hey, remember when this happened? That was wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't know better.
Yep.
And then for them to give you grace. And on the opposite side, say, Dad, you had 5 of us by the time you're 25.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got 2 right now. Like, I can't imagine what your mom would have felt like, and for them to give some grace on the other end. You follow me?
So
it just feels good to be able to say, hey, I did the best I could, and for my kids to say, you know what, I've never had to push a cart full of kids and pull another one. I've never had to do that.
So I just had that moment with Chris, my son. Christmas Eve. We're at church. They don't go to church. Him and his wife yet. And when I say yet, because
You're working on
I'm
it.
working on it, but and I hope that they join us.
Good.
One day, but they agreed to join us for Christmas Eve. And during the worship, man, I'm just bawling. My son wraps his arms around me and says, Dad, you did good. That's all he said to me. That was the right time for me to have heard that, because my saying's always been to my wife, when my wife would get on to me about you're being rough on the boys. My comments always been, and I still believe this to be true. So fathers, if you're listening, it's the mama's job to raise boys. And when I say that, show them how to love, how to be loving, caring men. It's the men's job to teach them to be a man. Fathers, we've got to be tough. We've got to impose that strength and show them how to be true men. So, it's I made my mistakes. I was too young, and in that day that's what was going through my head when I'm sitting there at the pew and worship is going on, and for him to reach over and give me that hug and say that to me,
Yeah.
boy, did it make my day.
Good. That's good, man.
Yeah. But yes, again, back to the coaching. I mean, I truly loved it. It was something till this day that I would want to do. And yesterday brought some of that emotion back in me. Of, my son called me when he decided to do this, and he says, "Dad, how about you help me coach a t-ball team?" And I just chuckled. My career right now, it's just not the right time for me to. I don't have the time to devote to it. But boy, yesterday when I was sitting there, watching this, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, boy, you need to teach them how to do this, and boy, you need to do this, and in my head, that's the thoughts that are going through me. The old coach came in me, right away, being on the bleacher side and not having the ability to go out there and or not being the one on the field teaching these kids.
You're feeling it.
Yeah, I was feeling it for sure.
That's cool.
And I told my wife, one day when I retire, I'll probably go back to coaching.
Oh, good.
And it'll probably be something that I end up doing at some point in time in my life again. For that reason of I do enjoy mentoring these young men and helping these
there's a need
these
for
families.
There's a need for it, man. That's a big hole, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a big hole when, especially now, like, I don't like talking politics and all that kind of stuff, but especially now with inflation, everything the way it is, when mom and daddy are both working, who's raising the kids? Like we got to take time. Dads need to take time to teach their boys, to teach their girls how to do stuff, like how to be, man, but you before you know it, the day's over with for a lot of these people. Look at your mom and dad.
Yeah.
Just working nonstop. Americans nowadays, they're not out in fields, picking tobacco or whatever, but we are working nonstop. Emails, like all these things, it's constant communication, and then you sit down and take a breath, and the day's over with. Yeah. And you haven't spent any time with your kids yet.
I'm in that stage in my life right now with my career where, I constantly look at my wife, and at the end of the night, we finished eating supper. We've done the chores with the animals. We've done the things what we needed to do, right? The day's over, and we look at the clock and go, how's it 8:30 already?
I know.
I
know. Or how's it Friday already?
Yeah.
Like, where did it go? No, I get it.
But
I get it. I came to the realization, for a lot of years, I told my kids, the first 5, hey, I have a list of things to do.
Yep.
You always have a list of things to do.
Yep.
And I always say, hey, let me get this list done first. The problem is the list is never fully clean, which means you never have time. So sometimes it's okay to, no, this can wait. I'm going to spend some time with you. So we're all learning. It's all a learning process and a growing process, right?
Yep.
But we've lost our way somehow when it comes to the most precious gift that we have is our children.
Right.
We're meeting their needs physically, financially, and all that stuff, and that's our responsibility, but not to neglect the other side. If you're only feeding them, you're not investing in them, you're not doing your job.
And that was, I think, a large part of me coaching was to be able to do that with my kids. Was that one-on-one time.
It's good.
I was coaching other kids and I was mentoring other kids, but it was also the one-on-one time with my son.
Right.
When we were going to and from practice at times, and and some of those conversations weren't easy. You're coach and dad at the same time. So some of those conversations weren't easy. With my sons, but at the end of the day, it was still time together. It was time that we were able to. I was able to mentor them. I was able to talk with them. And some days it was, hey, how was school today? What was going on with school? What happened here? What happened there? With that was a connection that we had together was sports. So the the coaching was a great avenue to help me become a better man and a better father as well.
Good.
So
That's good. Thanks for doing that. That's and I'm glad that you're thinking about doing it again in life, because that'd be a good spot for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have an amazing story, man. Like, you have an amazing story, and be able to share that with others, and to have an eye or a sense of how someone may or may not be doing based on your history that others may be oblivious to. I had a guy on the podcast Saturday, Roy Leitz. We dropped it last Wednesday, but he talks about some neighbor kids that he just kind of picked up that there's a sense that there might be something wrong. You know what I mean? And then to take time out of his day, you got a 70-year-old guy taking out of his some time out of his day to take care of these girls. He made a comment. He said, "Keith, there's more than what you think there are."
Yeah.
That's sad that in the United States, in this prosperous nation with all the advantages that we have, that there's kids that are going through some heavy stuff.
Yep.
It's sad. I want to have eyes for that. I want to have a heart for that. I want to have ears for that. And I pray that God would slow my roll down a little bit so that I can pick up on that and just be whatever I'm supposed to be. Children are precious.
They
Children
really are.
precious.
And, you know, as I was mentioning, it's what I saw in coaching all those years and what fueled me and kept me doing it, because how could I give up on this kid? You know, I'm coaching him. I'm become his mentor. I become a father figure in his family, you know, for him and his brothers.
Right.
Or, you know, sometimes it was sister. You know, it was many times when, you know, the little sister's out there and she just wants to be around because there's men that care about her in her you know, in her life. So, it is something that I have an eye for. I see it.
Good.
You know, I can see.
You have an intuition for it.
Those kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. That's good. That's a good gift to have.
So,
I want that gift. Well, brother, what do you want to move on to from now? You're doing such a good job.
You know, we touched a little bit earlier on it, you know, my education and my career, and you know, we, you know, briefly hit on it that you know, it's you stay to the grind, you can get there and you can be successful.
Yes, sir.
You know, does education, is it important? Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Can it help you? Yes.
Yes, sir.
But if you put your nose down and you just grind,
Yes,
you
sir.
know, got 31 years in construction. I started as a laborer making $3.50 to now I'm a vice president of a statewide construction company, and we build over 4,000 homes a year, and, you know, have quite a bit of stress from it and a lot of people to care for and steward this chip correctly for everybody. So, but it is also a great sense of pride for me that I was able to make it and get to the point in life where, you know, I'm not just financially stable. I'm thriving and doing well. And,
good.
You know, that's not something I could have said 10, 15 years ago. So.
And at 48.
Yes.
At 48.
At 48.
It's amazing.
Yep. So.
I tell my kids, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. If you are, props.
Yep.
But you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. Just be the hardest working one in the room.
And
because there's no ability just to outwork somebody.
Right.
It's just, you just get after it earlier and longer and harder. There's no talent for that.
Yep.
But if you got both, man, you're golden. And my kids have both. I got the grind, and they got the both.
And that's how I feel. My sons have both. Yeah. I have the grind. You know, I have the ability to just do the job, do the task at hand, and just go until it's done.
But thank God that there are two paths.
Yep.
That you don't have to be the smartest person, that you can just grind it out. You know what I mean? So,
you know, and with my successes has come some knowledge of that there is two paths, that there are two different types of folks, and how do you manage both types of people,
there
right?
You go.
As a manager, right? I said I started as a foreman at 17. Okay, so I've got a long time of managing people and
Yes, sir.
and overseeing people. So I've learned how to do this.
It's a skill.
It is a skill to manage people. I feel that I've always been a natural leader. Okay. That's just come naturally to me to be a leader and be able to do that. And, you mentioned earlier, at 17, I was the young buck, for many, many years. I was the young guy, and trying to manage men twice my age.
Right.
Well, now I've become one of the older guys,
Yeah.
and managing much younger guys than me. And, I look at some of my guys now and it's a bit of the same thing with coaching, right?
Yeah.
So I'm mentoring young gentlemen now who are trying to grow their career and their pathway, to aspire to be me one day, right?
Right.
I've got two young men that are in their early 30s right now that I see, okay, this is the future of the company. These are the guys that are one day going to replace me when I'm ready to step away from this, and so I'm doing that mentorship with them right now. And unbeknownst to them, I'm trying to prepare them for me to be able to step away and for them to be able to take on that role. So, that's where, to me, maybe coaching and this career has all intertwined together.
That's a good skill because we're all built differently.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I'm built and the way that you're built may be different, but that doesn't mean one's better or one's worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we tend to mentor people the way that we did it.
Right.
Hey, this is the way I do it. This is the way you need to do it.
Yep.
That type of mentorship in business doesn't work.
No.
So we're all built differently. You find someone's skill, and you dial in on that, and don't make a big deal about the weakness because someone else can cover that weakness. So when you're dialing someone's skill, and we all have weaknesses and strong points, we all do.
Yep.
We just think we don't have any weaknesses. We see everybody else's weakness. We just don't think we have any, but we all do. So as you're building your team, okay, what's this kid's strength?
Right.
What's his weakness? Oh, he's good at this. And just kind of layer those things in there and to be able to have that talent to do that. It took me a long time to figure that out. I thought the only way to success was the way I did it. Everybody needs to grind. You don't grind, you're lazy, I don't need you.
Yep.
Well, it takes all kinds of people to make this world go around. And if we all had grinders, that world would suck. If everybody was like me, that world would suck.
And that's truly where I was for a long time. If you didn't work as hard as I did, or I was,
don't need you.
Don't need you. It's probably been only the last 10 years for me, where I've started to get out of that mentality, and you don't have to work the way that I work. And one thing that I learned is not everybody's you. I was told that a long time ago by a manager of mine is, as you move up the ladder, just remember not everybody is you.
Because if they were you, they'd be in your spot.
Yep.
You need owners. You need all these pieces of the puzzle.
So, so we,
It's funny you said that you came across that about 10 years ago. That's about the time I came across it.
Okay.
So it's like these stages in life. When you're young, you got to grind.
Yep.
And then you grow, right?
Yep.
You grow in who you are and your perceptions and how things work. And then to be able to continue to grow. I'm in a growing phase right now, dude. I'm 50. I am in a growing phase right now. At 50 years old, I'm still trying to find my place right now.
Right.
Because I don't have to grind. I don't have to grind. So am I complacent because I don't have to grind? Am I lazy because I don't have to grind? But I'm just trying to find my new role. And because, when things get hard, you revert back to the tools that have worked for you. When things get hard for me, I just grind.
So,
but now that I have people in place, I don't have to do that. So there's a transition. There's a skill that God is trying to develop in me right now that I'm not used to using that tool yet. Whatever I'm at right now in life, and it's hard for me. It's hard for me because I just want to revert back to what I know, and God's trying to do something else in me.
Um, excellent point. For myself, it was as a manager. Anytime anything went wrong on a job site, I reverted to, well, I'll just go fix it, which meant me being on a job site, me being a superintendent, me actually running the job instead of my guy that I have there running the job, right? So it's only been the last couple of years that I've started to not do that, and allowing my people that I have to do their job and mentoring them and teaching them my mistakes that I made along the way and how, what I've learned along the way to, hey, this is what I would do, but hey, you're the one on site. You tell me what needs to be done.
Make the call.
Yep. Yeah. So I give them the advice, but allow them to make the decision now.
Trust them. Build trust them, make the call. That's good stuff. We stumbled across this that we're talking about, but I'm glad we did because there's a lot of value here.
Yep.
I'm glad we did.
So, but yeah, I am proud of that. One of the reasons one of the things that we're doing as a company now, it was a pet project of mine to develop a training program in our company on how to be superintendents. Okay. And my thought behind it was always, and maybe it's a little bit of that coach and that mentor in me.
Build a roadmap.
Right. Building that road to success for a superintendent in our company. But behind all of that was always the thought process of taking this to the high schools and taking this to the trade schools, and in the future be able to pull kids that aren't going to go to college, that aren't meant to go to college, because let's face it, not everybody is meant to go to college.
Right.
There's guys like you and me that that's not where we fit in, right?
The ones that make the world go round.
Right. So let's give them a different avenue. So we're at that stage now with the company where we're starting to get involved with the trade schools. We're starting to get involved with the high schools. And I'm hoping that within the next couple of years, that is really where we're pulling our superintendents out of. There's always going to be the guys that are out there that are doing it. They're doing it. But I would like to give an avenue to kids in high school, kids in trade schools, that you don't have to go to college. If that's not your direction or what you're meant for. Here's a trade and here's a way we can train you, and we have this roadmap that you can be successful and be able to use my story of, here I am as an 8th grade education vice president of a large construction company, and you can do this as well.
Yeah, that's good. So, there's a lot of companies that I hear are doing that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and we need to fill that gap somehow.
Yes, we do.
And there's definitely a need for it. We need plumbers, we need electricians, we need framers, we need roofers, and as the workforce diminishes, those wages are just going to go up. And to be able to start making some money right out of the gate, instead of going into debt for 4 years and then getting after it, it's a pathway to success. It's a good pathway. I'm thankful for the trades. And there's something therapeutic about getting up early in the morning, working all day, and just laying it all on the line, and then going home exhausted. It's therapy, man.
I still, till this day, although I sit behind a desk most days anymore, and stare at reports and
I feel sorry for you.
That's pretty much how I run my company now. But for me, it's still. Man, I still love being a carpenter. Yeah. Swinging that hammer, throwing that slinging plywood all day long, because when you went home at the end of the day, man, it's, look what I did. Yeah. Today I finished doing my job and I shut my computer. It's, what did I do all day? So.
Well, this is a good transition. Your fitness.
Yep.
Because that's when I started taking my fitness seriously, is when I'll say, okay, the next step in business, I can keep going this way, or I can grow my business. I decided to grow my business. When I decided to grow my business, I'm not getting the physical aspect anymore. And I feel it. I'm in an office that I hate. I want to be outside. I want to be doing something, but I have to go this way. So that's when I started, taking my fitness seriously. It was just therapy. It was just to get my brain just to sweat, just to get it going.
Right.
And I know your fitness was really on point several years ago. So
Mhm.
let's talk about what your fitness was and all that transition. Like,
So yeah, I mean, like I said, all those years of coaching, I stayed in pretty decent shape. Like I said, being a framer, I was a strong kid. Coming straight out of middle school and to the frame, for many years. Um, I had that work ethic. I was pretty fit and I was pretty strong. Um, Become a superintendent. Now I'm coaching, so I'm out there running with the kids consistently. I'm out there 6 7 days a week coaching. So I had that physical ability. Um, I got moved here to manage this division for the former company I was at. Like I said earlier, I was 8 months ahead of the family. Um, Literally, I rented a house right down the street from where your house is here in Buckingham. Um, so I'm sitting there, literally have a lawn chair and air mattress. That's my furniture. So everything is McDonald's, Burger King. You know, Stress is huge. I'm missing my family. I'm only seeing them on the weekends. Sometimes not even being able to go home on the weekends because the job is demanding me to be here.
yeah.
Pack on a ton of weight. Like I mentioned earlier, I get to 270 pounds. Um, have that surgery, and my wife mentions to me, "Hey, I want to get back into the gym. I want to go to the gym." I said, "Yeah, okay, I'll help you out." I'm like, she says, "But I need to know what to do." And that's how I ended up getting back in the gym. Was originally
Okay.
to help her out, and found that avenue to let go of that stress and be able to have that physical exhaustion at the end of the day, that I did something today.
There you go.
Rather than just driving around in the truck and managing people.
Yep.
So I got really into it at that point in time. I was 2 3 hours a day working out, and I just loved it. I just loved being in the gym.
2 to 3 hours.
I just loved
Oh,
sweating.
you were eating it up.
Yeah.
I don't have 2 or 3 hours.
Yep.
I'm an hour. Like
Yep.
I get in there, an hour, everything I got, and then I feel good. So 2 or 3 hours, you do love it.
So I was getting up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning and heading to the gym so that I can get my 2 to 3 hours and then
Wow.
going to work all day and then coming
Wow.
home and repeating rent 6 7 days a week. So it was an avenue for me to let go of stress. It was an avenue of I could see the success. I was good at it. I was able to be able to do things that in my 30s I thought that by then I would have lost. Right?
Yep.
Um,
That's the lie we always tell ourselves because
right.
that's what society tells us.
Yep.
Hey, once you hit 30, you got to start slowing down.
Yep.
That's a bunch of BS.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, continued on that journey. I was going to a global gym. I was doing all those type of things. I would put in cardio in there. I was doing the main bodybuilding thing. I remember one morning you and I met up in Sarasota on a clubhouse. I was asking
Oh,
you
yeah. I
to
forgot about that club.
yeah.
Yeah.
that I was asking you to look at and
Yeah.
do the framing for me, right?
Yep.
And I walk up and you're like, you look at me and you said, "Man, you just got out of the gym. Look at you. You're completely swollen." Well, yeah, I just spent 3 hours in the gym working out,
That made you feel good.
and it did. Those were the comments that kept me going every day, right? And along the way of my fitness journey, I found CrossFit.
Yeah, you
And
did.
when I found CrossFit, boy, I went, "This is me. This is who I am." Just static lifting weights, and in a global gym, just it was great, but it wasn't who I was. I walked into that first CrossFit gym, and it's gritty. There's no air conditioning. You're working outside. You're working with um, people your age, people younger than you, people older than you, and that first day that I got there, um, I was um, I was asked to go to that gym by my chiropractor.
Hmm.
One of her girls that worked there that I dealt with. She said, "Yo, you should come to my gym." She was a coach. I get there and they put me with two 20-year-old kids
They
to do
buried
the
ya.
first workout, right?
They buried you.
I was not giving up, though. I was going to keep alongside them, and if
Yeah.
it killed me, but I was going to stay with them, right?
Yeah.
And, after that first workout and getting through it, and, those 20-year-old kids look at me and go, holy crap, man, where have you been at?
Oh.
They're like, we were trying to bury you, and you kept up with us. I'm like, guys, I'm dying, So I really enjoyed it. Fell in love with it. Like I said, it's gritty. It's tough. You're never doing the same thing twice. And then COVID hits. At that point in time, I just really less than a year into CrossFit. COVID hits. Now there's no gym. So what do I do now? So now I'm at home. I'm up in Arcadia by that time. Well, we're out there in the sticks. I said, well, you know what? I'll just do some pull-ups. Bought a pull-up bar. Ordered a pull-up bar. Put that up first. Just do some pull-ups and start running and do some Murphs, style type workouts. Slowly started building my gym up. And I think that's when you and I ran into one another or started talking about CrossFit at that point in time. And I came and did the workout with you and introduced you to the app that I was using.
Yeah.
And you and I did.
I had never done any Olympic style lifting.
Okay.
You were doing some clean and jerks and stuff for that workout. You're doing some clean and jerks and stuff. I had never done that. I've seen it on TV, but I'd never done it. It was a different way to move weight, to move heavy weight quickly.
Yep.
My body wasn't picking it up. And then I was like, man, there's something to this. So I bought the app too, and I've been doing it ever since. And
so that was the year we both did the CrossFit Open online, because that's the only way you could do it at that time. Because of COVID. You and I shared our stories, through that with one another. We're calling each other up. Hey, how'd you do with the workout? We're sharing videos of one another, giving each other pointers, and we did the CrossFit and Open, and I did okay.
You did okay, but you did better than me.
I did okay.
You did better than me.
Oh,
yeah.
So just stuck with it and continued on with it. I, similar to you, have a full gym in my house now, and had always kept that schedule. 3 o'clock in the morning, I get up, I get out there, I get after it for 2 hours, and then I start my work day and I go after it the rest of the day.
See, it's funny because you get up early in the morning. I do mine in the afternoon. I have to let my stress build for the day. And I said, okay, now it's time to hit the gym. So it's funny how some people have to get it in first thing in the morning, and then they're good for the day.
Yep.
I'm the opposite. I gotta get it done after a stress day or not doing anything. So
that's the only time I have 2 hours to myself.
Wow.
So that's why I do it at that time.
Wow, that's discipline.
So, that otherwise I would love to be able to work out, and say that I'm going to do a workout at 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, I don't know that I'll be done working by then.
Wow. That's discipline.
So for me, it has to be at 3 o'clock in the morning, or I'm not going to get it in, right?
Well, those guys that you're mentoring, you better tell them to start taking some steroids or something and pick up the speed, because you need to be done by 5 or 6, man. You need to get those guys tuned up, start taking some workload off of you.
So, but yeah, that's truly been my fitness journey. I've stayed with it, did a couple other competitions, just nothing serious, but just a couple other competitions. Last year, found something new, which was the competitiveness has always been in there, right? We talked about earlier, I was carrying 5-6 sheets of plywood because that competitiveness was in me, that I wasn't going to allow these guys to run out of wood, plywood or lumber. So trying to find an avenue to release that competitiveness, CrossFit was one of them. Although I got into a point in my CrossFit it was all about placement in that app for me.
Oh, got
so
it.
when you see me drop off the app, it was when I realized that it was all about placement. It was no longer about my fitness. So I quit keeping score.
Yeah.
So
See, I like that because I looked at the placement, could just kind of like told you where you stacked up on a broader scale.
yep,
But for me, my fitness has always been me versus me.
yep,
That's what it's always been. Like it just tracking where I'm at.
Yep.
Me versus yesterday. It's
Yep.
always been like with me. It's always been me versus me.
So for me, it started that way. Even with CrossFit, it started that way. It was when I started seeing myself get to a point where I was the top dog all the
There you
time.
go.
Then
Yeah.
it became
Yeah.
okay, well, I got to stay the top dog.
Oh,
How do
got
I
you.
stay the top dog? And then it was more about just
The numbers.
the
Got
numbers rather than just enjoying the workout and doing what I was doing.
it.
Right.
Got it.
So last year I found something new. It's called that adventure racing. That I went and did.
What's that?
So adventure racing is these races that they're throughout the U.S. They're actually global races that have been done. I don't know if you've seen the movie with Mark Wahlberg where they find the dog and they're doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's adventure
down in
racing.
South America or something.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I had found a race here in Florida that was a 4-hour race. I was going to do it solo, which was hiking, mountain biking, and paddling. And there's no maps. There's no trail, I should say, excuse me. You get a map and a compass and waypoints of where there's checkpoints for you to go and get these checkpoints, right?
That's cool.
So I looked at that and went, okay, this is a you versus you. This is not a you versus anybody else in the race. This is you. Can you find all these checkpoints? Can you do this on your own without a roadmap, right? So as I told my wife, I looked at that and like everything else that I do in life, it's the grand scale, right? So
Right.
immediately I looked at it and went, okay, I'll do a 4-hour and then I'll jump up to a 12-hour because I had seen a race that's being had this year. I believe it's in February or March, which is coast to coast,
Oh, that's
which
cool.
is 72 hours from Clearwater Beach to St. Augustine.
That's cool.
And it's this style of racing, right? So my goal was last year to prepare for this. And so I started to get ready for this. I mentioned it to the wife, and the wife says, well, you know what? I think I would like to do that since we're going to take this month-long hiking trip and doing some things that we, road trip that her and I took last year. So we did it together. Had a blast doing it. At that point in time, to myself, I knew something was going on with me, and I'm going to transition into my diagnosis. But I knew something was going on, but I wasn't sure what was going on. We did the race, enjoyed it, had a great time. My wife,
You and your wife did it together.
the wife and I did it together, and I told her, "Look, we're going to do this at your pace. I'm not going to try to kill you.
Yeah.
I don't care how we place.
Yeah.
Let's just have fun doing
Let's
it
just
together."
do it. That's cool.
It was in preparation because we were getting ready to take a month-long trip on the road, a lot of hiking. We were going to go out west, Grand Canyon, New Mexico, those type of things. So she wanted to kind of get in shape for that. So this was a little bit of a way for her to do it and for us to do something that was together and be able to allow me to understand whether or not I was going to progress in doing this type of
Understood.
racing. Okay. Shortly after that, I'm in my gym doing a workout. And I told you the story. And I knew something had been going on with me for about 3 years, and we couldn't figure out what it was at that point in time. The workout called for jump roping.
Yeah.
Done it hundreds of times. And I'm jumping rope and just cannot keep pace. Can keep stumbling. My left arm's just not working. Something's going on. Don't understand it. Don't have a complete breakdown that day at the gym. I'm doing GHDs, bawling like a damn baby because I know something's seriously wrong with me, and I don't know what that is yet. So we go on our trip. We come home. We were already talking with our insurance gal, trying to find a neurological doctor to see me that could give me some answers. So Thursday, January 12th.
That's my birthday.
Is it?
January 12th is my birthday.
Or excuse me, June 12th.
June 12th.
June 12th. Thursday, June 12th. Go see a neurologist. And she tells me for the first time, you have Parkinson's. At the moment I took the news well, while I was in the office, my wife and I asked the questions that we could come up with at that point in time. And she tells me, I need you to go on medication right away. There's she did a physical test with me and said, you have Parkinson's. We need to confirm this by doing a DAT exam, which is a brain scan.
Yeah.
She, at that point in time, tells me, I need you to start on medication right away. When you go downstairs, you'll go down to the pharmacy and your prescription, you'll need to pick up your prescription. You need to start on it right away. I get down there and all the questions start coming.
Yeah.
God, why'd you do this to me? How could you have done this to me?
You know what's funny? When things are going good, we don't think about God. When things take a turn and they go bad,
Yep.
that's when we think about God.
Yep.
It's funny that you just said, God, why me?
Yep.
It's the first time you mentioned God throughout the whole thing just about. So go ahead, keep going.
So, at this point in time, I'm already involved with the church. Had made my way back to the church months previous to that.
Why? Why did you?
So the whole pathway started, like I said, my mom and dad did raise me with religion. Throughout the years of me drinking and smoking and the things that were going on with my life, I walked away.
Yeah.
Years ago, when I started my fitness journey, is when I started finding my way back. And it started with the app that we use.
Yeah, it's got Bible verses and stuff.
Has Bible verses. So I started reading those verses every day. And,
wow.
And that was my clip or my moment with God every day, and a prayer after that. And so I started that then. I'm going through what's going on, for, like I said, for 3 years. I visited a few doctors, had some MRIs, had some brain scans. Nothing's wrong with you.
But you know there is.
But I know something seriously is wrong with me, right? I know my body. Having tremors in my left arm. Now I'm starting to get to a point, like I mentioned, I can't jump rope because my arm's just not working the way it used to. So I was already making my way back to God at that point in time. And then would have been mid-2004, early 2004 to mid-2004, I really start praying every day.
Not 2004.
Or 24, excuse me.
2024, yeah.
2024. Start praying a lot, start coming to God. Beginning of last year, I looked at my wife, I said, I want to go back to the church. I'd considered myself a Catholic my whole life. I was baptized Catholic. I was, did my first communion Catholic. That's what Mom was Catholic. Never felt comfortable in a Catholic church, though. So,
that's the culture.
Yep.
The culture you grew up in is Catholic.
Yep.
So when this was going on, you knew you wanted to get close to God. You just knew that you didn't want to go back to Catholic church for some reason.
Well, no, originally I went to a Catholic church.
Got it.
So, I tell my wife, she agrees, yeah, okay, I'm with you. I'm behind you. So we go to Catholic church. I find a Catholic church in town. We go. We sat through the whole mass. In the parking lot, I looked at my wife. I said, I'm never coming back here again.
Hmm.
Asked the neighbor where their church is. So a little bit of my testimony is in mid 2024, I purchased a house in Wachula. I had no business to purchase a house. I own my house. I had no mortgage. There's no reason for me to do this. Something's pulling me to go there, right?
Hmm.
I don't understand it at that point in time. Well, we move into Wachula, and man, I tell you, everywhere I go, everybody's inviting me to their church.
Wow.
Come to my church. Come to my church. I'm getting it from everywhere, right? I decided to go to church early last year, 2025. We do the Catholic church. Walk out of there knowing that that's not where I wanted to be. We go to the neighbor's church, First Christian Church there in Wachula. It is the first time I have ever felt the Spirit of God come over me. It was the first time that I felt truly at home. And it has now become a place that we have built a community around us. And being involved with the community again since I left Sebastian. So I'm already walking with the Lord. I'm walking my path at that point in time, when I get the diagnosis. But the first thing I do when I sit down in that lobby is question him. Why'd you do this to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
As I'm sitting there doing that, I get a text from my daughter-in-law in Minnesota. And it's a prayer. I just start bawling right then and there. Ask for forgiveness because I knew what I was doing was questioning God was not the right thing. In that prayer, she told me that God had already had my path figured out for me.
Wow.
I just need to know what that path is now, regardless of what the diagnosis. She didn't even know what the diagnosis was at that point in time. She sent me that. She knew that we were going to see the doctor. She sent me that prayer, hoping that I would get it before I would go in with the doctor, but it came afterwards.
Came after.
Yep. But it came at the time. I'm literally sitting there, tears coming out of my, streaming down my face. I'm having a conversation with God, questioning him why.
And he's responding to you.
Yep.
That's good, man.
And at that point in time, listen, I'm not going to say that I don't have that thought from time to time, but I do know that there's a reason why I've been put down this path. And from time to time, when I need to, I go back and I read that prayer from my daughter-in-law.
God is sovereign. But in his goodness, he doesn't show us his plan.
Yep.
He requires us to walk by faith, step by step. And in obedience, we submit to what we're supposed to do today. And then sometimes in disobedience, no, I'm not going to go that way. And like a loving father, he just disciplines us and does his work. But having walked with him for as many years as I have, and at the age that I'm at now, I'm beginning to see more and more of his work, and things that I used to would have say were coincidences. I believe there are no coincidences.
Yep.
I just believe we can't always see it or understand it, but it's for a reason and for a purpose. And I'm learning to trust that purpose regardless of how it feels. And that's a scary thing to say. That's a scary thing to say because the past 14 months 14 months ago, I felt that God is going to do something in my life that's just going to shake me to my core. I feel it. Not telling anybody because I'm afraid. Not even telling my wife
Mm-hmm.
because I'm afraid if I say it, that's another level of reality. So God just, it was almost like I had my hand out and God would just put relationships in my hand and say, "Can I have this?" And I systematically went through virtually every relationship that matters to me. And I said, God, I would turn my head, like in my mind, like turn my head, afraid that God is going to take that relationship. I got a daughter that was pregnant at this time. And to say, God, if you want that baby, but okay, because you're good.
Yep.
And I went through all my relationships, my wife, and I was able to say, God, it's yours. You're good. And then it came to a relationship that is the whole reason why we're here in Florida. I came to Florida when I was 10 because my dad came here to start a church. We recently celebrated our 40-year anniversary. And God said, Keith, what about that relationship? No, God, that's the whole reason why we're here. That's disloyalty. No. And I struggled with that. I rationalized that. And things are going on in my life where I see like God wants that.
Mm-hmm.
Things are happening that I'm not doing. I feel like my tent is grounded, has been grounded here for 40 years. And I feel like God is pulling the pegs of the tent up. It's not me pulling them up, but he's doing something. And I said, okay, God, I think I know what you've been doing, and I don't want to do this. But if this is what you want, you better make it obvious because the ramifications of this, if it's not you, are going to be extreme.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, in obedience, not knowing what his full plan is and still not knowing what his full plan is, but just walking in obedience, he pulled the last tent stake out of that relationship with my family's church.
Wow.
Moved me somewhere else, and I can't even tell him where I'm going or why. All I can say is God is doing something. Trust me. This isn't to hurt you, but it's something God is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And what a blow. What a blow to the family. And they're not taking it well. They're not taking it well. I got a family member from Australia that came to visit. I invited all my family to go to dinner to see him off, and my dad said, sorry, we won't be coming. So where's God in that?
Yeah.
Where's God in that? But I trust God is in it because that prayer came to you at the right time. And God doing things in my life for the past 14 months at the right time, guiding and directing things that I'm in a growing season, man. It's painful, but I'm in a growing season.
It is painful. Like I said, me going to Wachula was his plan.
Yeah.
Wasn't my plan. He needed to pull me there to pull me into the right church and know that I was with the right people and that he could truly come into my life fully and for me to accept him. I wasn't prepared to hear the news that I heard. That's why I wasn't given a diagnosis prior to that. I know that now. I see that now. It had to wait till that moment in time when he had prepared me.
Yeah.
When I had given myself back up over to him and truly know that he's the one knowing all and has my pathway, and until I was prepared to say that and accept that in my heart, my answers weren't going to come as to what was going on with me.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I read that prayer and it gave me a calmness came over me
Isn't that amazing?
that I've never felt in my life.
Listen, when I had my family gather around my dad's room and my mom's sitting next to me because she can't hear very well, and I feel like I'm just taking a hammer to that woman's heart, but I have this supernatural peace while I'm doing that. Where'd that come from?
Yeah.
In the midst of your world getting shaken up with this diagnosis, but experiencing a calmness, where does that come from?
Yeah.
Either God is real or he's not.
Yeah.
There are no coincidences.
No.
He's a loving heavenly Father, has a plan for us. And how can Parkinson's be a part of his plan?
And then there is my question, right? How can this be, you've made me this strong person all my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've grinded all these years.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to take it away from me?
Mm-hmm.
And
I can feel that emotion because I'm a man too.
yeah.
Like my identity is caretaker,
Yep.
provider,
Yep.
grinder. That's who I am.
Yeah.
And that's who you are. All the way from 4 years old to be helped to work with daddy so we can get some subsidy for the housing. So your identity is being stripped away.
And so yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Is I wake up some days, I question, I read that prayer, have that calmness come around me,
Yeah.
over me. I made a mistake. I know it's not a mistake, but I made the mistake of watching Ozzy Osbourne's documentary.
Mm.
What it revealed to me was a mirror.
Mm.
Ozzy Osbourne had Parkinson's as well. He had other things going on with him, but it revealed the mirror of my future self.
Mm.
In complete tears, I looked at my wife and I said, I'm sorry.
Mm.
I'm sorry for what I'm going to put you through one day. Because it's what's going to happen one day. She's going to have to care for me.
Mm.
And as a man, how do I live with that? It's a fear that's overcome me since I've watched that.
Yeah.
It's a prayer that I pray every day with Lord to give me the path of why he's done this or why this has happened. What am I supposed to do with it? When you asked me to do this and when I called you that day, I called you one day out of the blue.
Yeah.
To tell you that you didn't know the impact of what you were doing. This was before the podcast started. You were posting some things. I was reading some things. I was going through it at that time.
Can you share that conversation we had and that thing that I had done? Can you share that? Just catch everybody up.
So I've been diagnosed. Shortly after I injured my knee, I'm unable to work. We find out that my mother-in-law has stage 4 cancer. My world's completely turned upside down at the moment. My wife's living full-time caretaker, my mother-in-law. She's living full-time at her house. I'm by myself going through all of this right now. Part of my journey was with the Lord was to remove things from my life that are not good for me.
Mm.
And as I'm about to remove Facebook, I see a post from you.
Mm.
So then I start looking, and I see post after post. And it was enough to get me to say, Lord, you're with me. I know you're with me. You would not have put that in front of me at this point in time if it wasn't for you, right? So I called you that day to tell you that And that's when I let you know what was going on with me. I said, Keith, whatever you're doing there, thank you.
Mm.
You don't know the impact it's having on me. And that's when I told you I was recently diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling through this. Told you the story about the jump rope
Yeah.
that day.
Listen, bro, when you called me, I had chills. I had chills because this little thing we're doing here, like, it's not something I want to do. It's not my character. It's not who
Yep.
I am. I told my son-in-law here I'm going to do a podcast. He like, what, you know, you got to talk to people, Keith. Like, it's not me.
Yep.
But I felt this pull.
Yep.
I felt, God, I feel like this is something you want me to do. I don't want to do this. And it just kind of like came together. When things come into my lap, I pay real close attention because if it's something that I go after, it's kind of like a 60-40% chance it's going to succeed. But if things come into my life, I can say, ooh, there's something going on here. And I just obey. There's a purpose and a reason. So I felt this pull. And I would get sporadic text and stuff about, hey, Keith, whatever you're doing, keep it up. But man, none of them hit hard the way it hit me when you called me.
So,
You know, when you talk about there are no coincidences.
mm-hmm.
I was on the fence as to, is this doing anything? Like, I'm investing time and energy to this. I could be focused on my other business, like, and then you call me. And it was just solidified. Okay, God, I'm gonna keep doing this. I don't know why. I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yep. So that day you asked me, or you told me what you were heading to do a podcast, right? And that was the direction you were going with this Still Strong post that you were making, right?
Mm-hmm.
You told me that I was one of the people that were on your list of potential people to interview and do this. And
I didn't even know you had Parkinson's then.
No. I agreed. Like you said, this is completely out of the realm for me.
Both of us.
What I've shared here today, I've never shared with other people.
Mm.
Never had the strength to do so.
Mm.
Never felt that anybody cared.
Mm.
Just, it's what we all go through.
That's what we do.
It's what we do. We need to do. Just do what you do and just keep moving.
Mm.
And it took every bit of fiber in me not to quit on you and not to call you and tell you, no, I'm not doing this. Everything in me screamed to cancel on you and not do this. But I kept praying on it. Prayed on it every day. Prayed on it this morning. And maybe this is the path. I need to share my story. One of the things that I've learned about Parkinson's is there's not many of us. I've never met anybody else with Parkinson's. Never known anybody. Still have not met anybody else with it. And maybe me sharing my story allows somebody else to come forth. This is the first time I'm saying it publicly. Very few people in my life know, outside of my family. It's not something that I felt comfortable sharing at work. Because
you're the leader.
I'm the leader. And how do I continue to lead my company? How do I continue to lead my family?
Yeah.
When I'm learning right now. I struggled with this. I struggle with my identity now.
Yeah. I feel that.
And what the future holds for me.
I called you last week. Said, hey, brother, you ready? and you say, Keith, I'm struggling, man.
Yeah.
I prayed for you all week. We prayed out there. We held hands and prayed out there. As Christians, as men, we know what our identity is. But as Christians, our identity is in Christ. We're his beloved. We're secure in who he is. Where he reached out to rebellious, lost people, sacrificed himself for us, made a way of eternal hope that we do not deserve, puts things into our life that are heavy to make us into the image of his dear son, but he doesn't just put them on us, they figure it out. It says that he holds us up. He supports us and sustains us. There are things in my life that I would not want to relive. If I had a choice to go through that again or not, I would say no. But there's things that I've learned about God, haven't gone through those things that I would not give up.
Mm-hmm.
There's something through this, Tom, that you and your wife are going to learn about God that's going to be precious. That's going to be a gift to you and your wife that you're not going to want to give up, even though it's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. God is going to sustain you, and there's something that he's going to unlock to you about who he is that you're going to be enamored and just in love with. And I'm almost jealous of that, because the hard things that I've gone through in time, I've looked back and saw God, how he sustained me. And man, just, he loves us.
Mm-hmm.
As Christians, the things that come into our life aren't random. They come from a place of love.
I look at my life now. I see him in my life. Back from when I was a kid to now. I was a rebellious kid. As I said earlier today, I ran as hard as I could to get away from him. He kept chasing me down. Time and time again. He kept chasing me down. I truly know that. I'm in a place today that I've never been in my life.
I think right now you have a taste of him, and now you're pursuing him.
Yeah.
We pursue, like, there's this shift that happens in our life. Like, man, God, I want more of you. This is painful, but I want more of you.
Yep.
And when we get a true taste of that,
I am to that point. I've never really studied the Bible. Over the last 8 months or so, I mentioned earlier I injured my knee, and I've been unable to work out for a little while. So I shifted that time in the morning.
Wow.
That time in the morning now is for my Bible study. It is time for me to pray. It's time for me to be in his word, to take his wisdom and discernment on me.
To seek his face.
And to seek him. I start my Bible study every morning. Lord, sit beside me and show me.
That's good, man.
Show me where I'm supposed to be at today. Show me how to serve you properly today.
Wow.
So.
He's good, brother.
Yeah.
He's good. Man, you've been I got goosebumps right now. This has been edifying to me. And thank you for not backing out. I know it was hard for you, but this has been good timing for me.
Thank you.
Good timing for me. I want to pursue him hard.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get after it with my relationship with him. I don't want to be passive or secondary. I want to be in the front of my mind and primary.
Yep.
Just like those workouts we do, I want to get after it, my relationship with him. So we come to those conclusions when we come through hard things or in hard things, when everything is stripped away and who we really are is stripped down to the bare core.
Yep.
What do we got left? As Christians, we have him, and that's all we need.
And that's the realization I've come to.
Hmm.
Everything else without him meant nothing.
Yeah.
So
Good. Well, Tom, let's wrap this up.
Yep.
Normally, I leave the guest with a thought, but I think we just finish this one out with a prayer. I'm just going to pray. God, we thank you for your goodness and your grace for undeserving sinners. We thank you for the things that you bring into our lives that cause us to think about you. God, forgive us for when we don't. Thank you for Tom and for his testimony. Thank you for his transparency. We thank you for preserving him from a little boy all the way till now. For his traumatic story, sad story, but a story of your grace. I thank you for his friendship. I thank you for the father and grandfather that he is. God, I pray that this stage in his life that he's at with this diagnosis, I pray that he would see you every day in a way that he hasn't. I pray if you be gracious to him, you grant him healing. Pray for his wife, his family. Pray that they would experience your grace and your love and your blessing. Pray you bless this time together. Pray that this podcast would go out to whoever it's supposed to see, that you'd be magnified, you'd be honored and glorified. Thank you for the opportunity you gave us today. In Christ's name, amen.
amen.
That's
brother, let's get out of
okay.
here.
Still strong. Watch me rise my way slow.